Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Today's Sunday session is brought to you thanks to the fine folks at More Beer. Visit them right now at morebeer.com.
I want people to believe in me, and I want people to believe in me when they taste my beer. That's what it's about.
You mean you laid underneath it and tried to
put his tongue up the bung? I like to actually scoop up the yeast and look at it.
7 o'clock came real early that next morning.
Yeah, man. Thanks for dumbing that down for us. You did an awesome job. It's all about food and beer. Punch me in the junk.
Man, that thing was thick.
The point is just beat it like it's your dick.
I like to smell it afterwards.
Are you being sarcastic right now?
Yeah. Bring your body armor.
I ran into my junk once on a ball valve in a kettle.
That's a true happy ending.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
All right, everybody. Wow, what a night we have going for you here tonight. And as always, things fall apart right at the moment we're having a big night. We've got Russian River Brewing Company on the program with us tonight.
Sure do, and their beers.
And in the meantime, we've got 20 taps of their beer right here at the Hop Grenade. So if you're local, I'd turn this show off right now and just come down to the studio, come down to the Hop Grenade.
Let's do it tomorrow.
I've only gotten through a couple of them so far. I had to have the beatification.
It was good?
I didn't want to miss out on it. One of my favorite sour beers on earth.
I haven't had a beer yet. I got stuck in here, and then I forgot to. I didn't want to wade through the crowd, so
right.
I'm just here.
Yeah, it's busy out there.
It's going to get really busy.
We'll take a break soon, and maybe you'll be able to get a beer.
Maybe.
Probably not. There's a line at that bar. Come on out and check it out. We've got both Vinnie and Natalie Cilurzo on the program with us tonight. It'll be Natalie's first appearance on the BN.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. She's never been on the show. They're going to talk about the new brewery and, I don't know, a few of the 20 or so beers that we have on tap here.
I know, a few, yeah.
So
maybe half.
Yeah. If you want to ask questions during their interview, I'd wait till then, but you can join the chat room. Just hit the chat button on our brewingnetwork.com page. Don't put them in the live stream chat. There's a chat where you're watching the video, and that's not the best place to send your questions.
It is not.
Just join the chat room. You can do it that way. Also, you'll be able to call us at 888-401-BEER, and you can ask questions yourself that way. So lots of ways to get at our guest today. And I'm excited. We haven't had them on, I think, in a couple years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I don't know that Vinny's ever been to our new studio here, so that means
I don't believe so.
I mean, it's been at least 3 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's just always fun to catch up with. And, of course, everybody will want to know about what's happening with the new brewery and what their goals are. Does it mean we're going to get more beer? You never really know with Vinny. I mean, sometimes he just plans, somebody just does things to make his life easier and then actually just fulfill the beer he's already selling. But we'll find out all of that lowdown when we get him in here. All right. Well, I'll get right to it. We got a few things to cover. Some announcements, which are brought to you today by Drake's Brewing Company. You can go to drinkdrakes.com and check it out. They've got their first Fridays starting up again. The next one is on Friday, April 6th. It's a benefit for Bike East Bay. First Fridays down at Drake's are a good time. Tasty's been before.
Yeah, great tradition.
And you can go down there and it's a little beer fest on every first Friday that they do.
Yep.
And oftentimes they're fundraisers. This time it's for Bike East Bay. Go to drinkdrakes.com and check it out. You can get all the lowdown, and they're good people over there. They put on good events, and, of course, they make great beer. All right, and then speaking of events, our Spring Brews Festival is this Saturday, the 9th annual. I can't believe it's been 9 years.
Yeah. Seems like 5 or 6.
I know. Time flies. Well, we've been here in the park in Concord for 7, which I can't even believe that. That doesn't seem like it's been that long. You can go to thebrewingnetwork.com right now and click on the Spring Brews Fest event and get your tickets. And here's the deal. I suggest that if you want to go, you buy your tickets this week because this event will sell out.
Wow.
I'm not certain it's going to sell out by Friday, but it's really looking for it. But it absolutely will sell by the day of if we don't sell out ahead.
Sure.
So if you don't want to wait in line for nothing, we're going to send everybody to the same line. And you could wait in that line for a while and then get to the front and find out we don't have any tickets left. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. I'd go to thebrewingnetwork.com right now and get your tickets. We have more breweries than we've ever had before. We've got 62 breweries signed up.
Great.
We got Tasty's Tasting Room is back with a full lineup of homebrew.
Full lineup, for sure.
Which is great.
I have 2 myself.
The health department figured their shit out, so we can do that. White Labs is the sponsor of this year's Tasty's Tasting Room, so you might get some swag out of them.
We'll be hanging with them.
Plus, you can taste their beer. They're going to be pouring. And if you go to, I think it's on our BrewingNetwork.com event. It's at least on our Facebook page event. You can see the list of the full 62 breweries. I was just talking to one of the guys from Founders today. A lot of the breweries, bring special beer out for us, and they're going to pour KBS this year from Founders, and we're the first event to have it. I think the beer is being released the day before, but we're actually the first people to pour it out.
On
here.
draft or bottles?
On draft.
On draft. Wow.
Yeah, on draft. And that's pretty common for spring brews, where people bring out their best stuff.
Yeah, they get the idea.
The Rare Barrel comes out and pours some special stuff. You name it.
Yeah.
Yes, JP.
What's a KBS, and why do I care about it?
It's something breakfast stout. I forget what the K stands for.
It's their annual big deal release.
Yeah, very popular beer. People line up for it, and you can be sure they'll be lining up for it at the festival, too.
So, what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just didn't know. I'm out of the acronym
well-known.
loop.
It's just not that well known to me in terms of I don't.
Got it. But you were really excited about it either
I'm
way.
excited because everybody's going to look for it to beat it.
Yeah. You got to be in the beer loop again, JP, to know what this stuff is.
I know, man.
I like it that you can just say a beer name and people go, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." Yeah. You don't have to give the whole backstory.
They have no idea what it is. Oh yeah, that's great.
No, people know. People know. That's why I'm mentioning it.
All right. Let's drink it all right now.
So come on out. Get your tickets to BrewingNetwork.com. Like I said, get them this week. I don't want to hear from any of you on the day of. You sold out. Well, I've been telling you for 2 weeks it's going to sell out.
It's true.
So,
I heard it all.
Yeah, so go do it. All right. Tons of ways to support the Brewing Network, not just that festival, which is a nonprofit event for the Toto Santos Business Arts Foundation, which puts on the free concerts in the park here in Concord and helps local youth music programs. But you can support us by going to our store and buying any of our merchandise, like so many of you do. We got Sour Hour shirts on sale there. Another new Hop Grenade design is in there, and that's a great way to, you can wear our gear and support us at the same time. You can also do your Amazon shopping by clicking the Amazon link. That's all over our website. You can do it if you're in the UK or the US. And, it's just a great, easy way to support us. You pay the same thing. And then, of course, you can subscribe and join the BN Army. For as little as $2 a month, you're entered into the More Beer monthly donation giveaway, which is where we give away $100 to spend at More Beer to one lucky BN Army member every month. And the more you donate, the more you're entered to win. And it works. I'm telling you, I get notes all the time. Hey, I won, finally. So do that, too. This program is brought to you by More Beer, of course, also a sponsor of our Spring Brews Festival. And for years, the folks at More Beer have been leading the charge when it comes to cool and unique homebrewing equipment, like the Robo Brew, the easiest way to brew all grain made from stainless steel. The Robo Brew allows you to make 9 gallons of beer all in one vessel, from boil to mash to cooling. The Robo Brew is truly self-contained. Or you can up your fermentation game with the all-new Fermentosaurus Plastic Conical. It has a 9-gallon capacity, a stainless steel stand, a sturdy butterfly dump valve at the bottom, and the best part is it'll hold up to 35 psi. Check it all out and more at morebeer.com, and thank them for sponsoring this show, as always.
Do it.
You can get info and things and stuff on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and you can send your feedback to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. That's a great way to tell us what you think. There's a lot in the feedback today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, well, we had 3 weeks because I forgot to do it the other week, and then last week we had no show. And then, so, we
backed up.
We got backed up with feedback, which is good.
Yeah.
I enjoy that very much.
Me too. We like hearing from you, so that's where you send it. Feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. Yeah, sure.
Okay. I didn't know if you were talking to everybody else or just me.
Whatever.
Okay.
You're included in everybody.
All right. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I feel good now.
All right, should we do our Twitter game? We have one, right?
Of course we do. Great. Justin, it's a Monday.
Twitter game's brought to you today by the Wine and Hop Shop. I think you go to wineandhop.com to check it out. They've been locally owned and operated for over 40 years, and they've got great, friendly customer service with 50 combined years of brewing experience. Half of their staff there has brewed professionally. And the best part, Brewing Network listeners get $8 flat rate shipping on orders under 50 pounds. Just enter BN Shipping in the notes field of the shopping cart, and your discount will be taken after checkout. Most of their items ship within 24 hours, and it's the only place to get Wisconsin Hop Exchange and Gorst Valley hops grown right there in Wisconsin. So check it out. Also, AHA and local homebrew members get a 10% discount. So go to wineandhop.com, please, and check them out. What is our Twitter game today?
Well, Justin, you're far too familiar with hazy beer. That's the new thing.
Yeah.
Which apparently has its own style.
Yeah, the Brewers Association officially classified the style.
Yeah, which I don't understand because it's not an IPA, but that's fine. Whatever. Now the new thing is not hazy beer, but glitter beer.
Oh, I saw
Putting glitter in your beer. So my Twitter game question is, what's next?
Okay.
How are we going to royally fuck up beer next? We've done a pretty good job so far. Let's see if we can go right over the edge with it.
How could we top glitter beers? That was what I'm thinking.
Right? Right.
Glow in the dark beer.
Solid beer? You just eat it? I mean, what do enema beer?
Gelatin. Okay, now we're butt chugging. We're back to
pawning. We're going to pawn this IPA. It'd be great.
All right, send that to our Twitter account, and you might win something that Bevo sends.
There you go.
An item to wear.
Yeah, great way to do it. All right, how about some feedback?
Let's do it. Yes, I'm ready for it.
JP's real excited about the feedback.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's go.
Not at all.
Well, before we do that, JP, this will be, the only time I give him full pass. If he wants to fall asleep on this program, I have no problem with that. JP, ladies and gentlemen, is a new dad.
That's right. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Real new. Congratulations.
He had a baby
on the 11th.
On the 11th.
March 11th, 2018 at 9:16 in the morning. Those are such stats.
Yeah,
us dads know about.
You'll know forever.
Right.
I remember I was a friend of mine was a new dad. I was living at this house, and anyhow, I remember him answering the door with his kid, and some stranger was like, "Oh my God, how old's your baby? Like, 12 months? Like they made a or like 1 year?" And he's like, "Oh no, she's 13 months." I remember the person was like, and I'm in the background going, yeah, that's like basically a year.
Right.
But things that Dad know. He was like almost, no, not a year.
No, how dare you ever assume?
13.2 months.
Right. Until they're 2, you pretty much acknowledge their month age.
No, I understand that. But
no,
the difference
I understand
between
it's ridiculous.
12 and 13 is,
it's a year.
But it's a dad thing.
It's a dad thing.
And you're excited, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, I am excited. It's tough.
Okay.
It's challenging sleep-wise because I don't sleep well, normally. We talked about it a couple of shows ago where I'm like, I'm ready for it. But you're never really ready for it because you're tired all the time,
right?
And you take naps and you trade off, and and then it's fine,
right?
But I don't know. So far, so good, man. Everyone's healthy and sleeping whenever they can and shitting a lot.
And you had a little girl?
Had a little girl, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
What's her name?
Alice.
Now, didn't you talk on the last when we started discussing names?
Yeah.
And Taryn was bringing up Disney-related names. You were like, listen, absolutely not. We can't do that because of us.
That's true. That's true.
Alice is a pretty Disney-oriented name.
It is, but according to Taryn, so it was on the list, and then it got nixed. I killed it. I was like, Al, come on, that's retarded. And then Taryn's like, I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I really like it.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Because I wanted to name her after my Greek grandmother, call her Aristea.
I thought it was going to be worse than that, actually. That's a nice name.
Yeah, Euripides Petros. And it's going to be amazing. And she's like, no, I like Alice. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't hate it. It's fine. I mean, any name you're going to pick, if you say it over and over and over again, and it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Say Justin 500 times in a row. You're like, oh my God, I hate this name. I don't want to do
it every morning.
That's your as you get out of bed. But so I asked her, where did it come from? She's like, I really like the name. And I go, well, it's not from Alice in Wonderland? She's like, oh. No, it's not, but I guess people will think that. I'm like, so she just kind of... It's not directly named. She's not named after Alice in Wonderland, but she just likes the name.
Well, and a lot of times, even if we like them because it's associated to that thing, we don't really know that. We just know that at some point in time we've liked this thing, whether it be a name or something.
Yeah.
It probably though can be traced back somewhere.
Probably.
But then you've since forgotten that that's why you like it.
Well, right. It was you were so young when you were indoctrinated. Like if Alice in Wonderland was a terrible movie, I feel like she wouldn't like the name.
Okay.
And then
but it turns out it's her favorite.
It is her favorite movie. And then, but then we're talking to her grandma, and she's like, "Oh, well, your great grandmother's name was Alice.
Okay.
So it's a family name." And she's like, "Oh, so there we go. It's a family name named after Taryn's great grandmother."
There you go. That's your out.
That's my out. Yeah, but Alice Marie Petros.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that's wonderful.
She laser shit on me.
Oh.
My first encounter with like the dreaded...
shot right out of her?
Yeah, because she's real gassy. Like newborns are gassy as everything kind of comes online. I kind of like akin it to like if you have a computer. It just takes 2 months to boot up, and you kind of see things coming online. Like their eyes aren't all drifting and rolling back in their head all the time.
Yeah.
But, as a result, you can be just your gassy little turd.
Right.
And as she's drinking the breast milk, and it kind of just shoots out into the diaper, and it's a collective thing. But I was changing her diaper, and I know enough now, or even before, to move her legs around a little bit. You kind of clear up the gas.
Oh, I see.
Because whenever you do that, and then she'll like get the red face and the scrunched face, and then you'll hear it go
coming.
Yeah. And you're like, God. Now I know. Because it happened to Taryn. She peed, and anyway.
All right.
So I open the diaper, do the thing. She shids. I open the diaper, and it's just on the couch, and I pick up her legs, and I take a wipe, and I'm just, wiping her butt cheeks, and I move her butt cheek a little bit, and just air goes... And this little,
I can't take it anymore.
No, it's going to be great. This, yellow curry paste comes out, and I'm like, oh, God, and I stop it up with the wipe, and I'm like, okay.
That's not good.
Yeah, so I'm going to wait.
Now you plugged her up.
Yeah, I'm going to wait a little bit. So I wait a couple seconds, take it out slowly, everything's fine. Cool. Grab another wipe. Wiping her butt, wiping underneath, wiping the and all the things you got to do.
Yeah.
And then apparently I got too close to the butthole, and I touched it with the wipe. And as I release, it was like a string, like a yellow string was connected from her butt to a pillow.
Okay.
And it just shot everywhere. It got on my shorts, on the couch, like a laser, dude.
Okay.
I got a photo. Do you want to see?
No.
I took a photo
of
it.
No.
Because I thought it was hilarious.
I can't see it, no. We have to move on from this
Are you sure?
particular topic.
Because I can go on. No. But that's it. And I was laughing the whole time, and I'm screaming, Taryn! She's like, what? I need you! And it's like warm, and then turning cold on my skin. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And the baby's just going like this. So So,
well, congratulations.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the good news is I was laughing about it, I guess. I feel like it would be, I would feel bad if I was, like, angry at the child. So I feel like I'm in a good headspace to be a parent.
Sure.
Like, understanding, which is definitely not my forte.
Right.
Parenting at that age is more about keeping them well.
Keeping them well.
If they're shitting, that's good.
Yeah,
Even if it's on
exactly
you.
right.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hate to bring this up, except I don't.
Right.
But Kate the Great remembered something the other day.
Okay.
And I think you can blame the woods for the reminder.
Probably.
I don't know where this exactly happened, but she came running in. She was very excited about this memory.
Okay.
And the memory was that at some point in time, you two shook on a bet.
Oh, we did.
You shook on a bet for $1,000 that you would never have a child.
I think that was within a time frame.
Oh.
Here we go.
I think that's what she's forgetting.
Okay.
It was within a certain period of time.
Oh.
Because I've never counted anything out, like whatever, but I think it was like in a 5-year time period. So I'm hope to God, knock on wood, that we're well out of the 5-year time period.
Yeah, I don't know that she would feel comfortable holding you to the bed at this moment in time. You have a new baby and all that. Yeah, she like shows up at your door.
Hey,
that'll be $1,000.
Yeah, it takes me to court.
She just was very excited to remember having won this bet in her recollection of how it went.
Yeah. Well, let's not say that she's won it yet.
Yeah.
She's closer than before.
Well, you guys will have to investigate.
We got to pin the date down and curse on the woods, a pox on the woods for bringing that up.
Right. Well, congratulations from all of us here at the BN. I'm happy everybody's healthy.
Thank you.
And, good luck in your new life.
Yeah, thanks. And we'll catch you never.
Yeah, exactly. No, like I said before, I've said on the show, I think you will actually be willing to work more than ever for the Brewing Network. And not that you won't love your child, but you're just going to need a break. So whereas before it might have been like, well, I got to leave, I got to do this. Now you're going to be like, Justin, seriously, what is coming up?
What can I do? Can I vacuum vacuum the studio?
What events are happening? I got to get out of here.
Probably right now I just need a break from Taryn.
Right.
Because she's home now 24/7.
Okay.
And we're, for like 2 weeks, we've been together since the 9th or whatever, and it's a lot.
Rough, yeah.
It's a lot, especially with like the stress of a baby and not sleeping. It's a lot, man. So I was happy to show up today.
Great,
early.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, early. I was here at 3.
Yeah. Actually, just drove around the block.
Let me get through some feedback, but I did want to take a minute to say congrats to you.
Well,
and your
thanks.
family.
I appreciate that.
Okay, feedback's brought to you today by the Beer Law Center. Go to beerlawcenter.com and ask John to take care of you like he takes care of our trademark. He can also help you with your TTB filings and all that stuff. beerlawcenter.com. All right. Hey, Ryan writes in, this is a RIP, rest in peace for Doc.
That's right.
Well, those of you who listen regularly might remember that I almost kicked Doc out of the studio last week. Basically, said you got to stop talking. I think that's what happened. Because Doc's been on a little rampage and, had been talking over guests more than usual. Let's preface that with.
Yeah.
So he says, Ryan writes in and says, Dearest Justin, it's with a heavy heart that I write this letter of condolence to you and your merry band of misfits who appear to be one man down after the recent passing of a beloved, air quotes, on-air, air quotes, talent. The loss of a dear friend who had been with you through so many times of joy, a plethora of regrets, and that one moment of true insight 7 years ago on episode 73 must be hard for you to endure. I'm sure that it was a tough week as you contemplate the Sunday session airing live on Monday nights, but most likely downloaded as a podcast because, let's face it, who has the time to blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I want to know how much the Brewing Network... I want you to know how much the Brewing Network community loves you and your remaining team, plus the future Jippers.
Yeah.
I think as a shout-out to Alice. First Alice shout-out.
There we go, baby.
And we'll continue to stand by you as friends, colleagues, and all-around random humans who don't drink enough Pale 31. Who would ever have imagined that Doc would win the death poll? I can almost hear him now, enjoying the award 47 feet from that foam orb blob called a microphone. pausing long enough to repeat in his mind what you just said 3 minutes prior. This guy listens to the show.
He
knows Doc.
These are deep cuts right here.
He says, tough break, buddy, but it had to be done. Love you all. You've positively influenced every aspect of beer culture for me. Thanks from Ryan.
That's nice.
Yeah, Doc's not dead.
No.
He's on a little hiatus.
Again.
Needs a break.
He needs a break.
He sent me a photo of him and Parker at a gay bar.
His son.
Yeah. And he goes, it's Parker's first gay bar that I know of. And I told him that...
I know of.
I told him that they both look very much at home.
Right. Yeah, the things that Doc shares with his offspring is interesting.
Hey, man, well-rounded people, I'm sure.
Doc will be back, eventually. But he needs a little break, that's all. Thank you for your condolences, Ryan. Josh writes in, Josh from Louisiana, what's up, Drunken Fools and Bevo? I had to write in after watching the replay of the Moxa Brewing episode, listening to Justin go on and on about the hop complexity of their beer hop collage, only to have him ask how many hop varieties were in the beer. And I almost choked when Justin finds out it's basically just one hop, Mosaic. After 13 years, some of us still can't work a microphone, and some of us can't taste beer. I almost choked laughing. Good laughs. Keep up the great work. That's true. After 13 years, I can still be really bad at tasting beer sometimes.
Me too.
And several other things. It's not much that I'm really good at, but I do those things as little as possible.
Right. I'm really good at struggling to taste beer.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for writing in. Evan says, hey, the BN, I enjoy the show and all the insights into the different breweries. Love the August Shell Show and the St. Arnold Show. Both shows that you did, I believe, JP.
Probably. St. Arnold, I don't know, but August Shell, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We had actually just got back from a Houston brewery tour and got to meet Aaron, the head brewer. I think he must be talking about St. Arnold's by happenstance. He just sat down with us and started talking beer. It was great to listen to a show with him a few weeks later. And he says the most recent show I listened to was Sierra Nevada. It's great that they're still doing great things this many years into the craft beer scene. I'm in Austin and get to try really great beers all the time here. JP and Beardy, y'all have got me really looking for those German-style beers. Just had a great Helles from Community in Dallas. I've had their beer. They make really good beer. And a delicious Kolsch from Hops and Grains in Austin.
Nice.
And he says either would be good on the show. I agree. Those would both be good breweries on the show. We'll maybe work on that. Anyway, keep doing what you do, he says, and thanks. David writes in about the brand new show Heads and Tails from JP and Beardy. It's titled, Is It the Most Praised Show on the BN? We haven't heard any bad things about it yet.
That's true.
David says, I wanted to congratulate JP and Warren, whoever that is, for the Charbet episode. Charbet?
Charbet.
Every BN show has its highs and lows. I've been listening for a long time, but in my opinion, this is one of the best I've ever heard on the Brewing Network. Well done and keep it going.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that dude Marco, he's crazy. He's a 13th generation distiller.
Oh, wow.
Like, his parents have been distilling since, like, the 1500s or some garbage. Like, it's insane, bizarre. Man. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's just in people's blood, man.
All right, I'm going to skip over the next one just because we're short on time, and then the final one has a lot of questions in it for you, so I thought I'd give you guys a chance to answer. It's about making a real lager. Clayton writes in, I've listened to pretty much every podcast you produce on the BN. I'm a total snob about process because I think that I know a lot of crap about it from the Brewing Network.
Yeah.
So, but now he says I'm brewing a lager and I feel completely inept. Now,
well, you should, Clayton.
Here's the background. It's a German Pils with a starting gravity of 1046. Mash temp was 147. 100% Weyermann Pils malt. And then a bunch of Tet and Hallertauer hops.
Or hops.
Local carbon-filtered water he cut with distilled water and added back some calcium chloride and a touch more calcium sulfate. 4 packs of WLP 830 German lager yeast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll get it going, dude.
Chilled the wort to 48 degrees and pitched at the same temp from the pure pitch packs from White Labs. Oxygenated and let it sit. Going well after 36 hours at 50 degrees for the first 3 days or so, and still going about the same tempo since. Though he does keep ramping up the temperatures. He's now at 64 after 3 days, I guess.
Ugh.
So, questions. How long is primary fermentation for a lager? I'll just do them one at a time.
when it's done.
It's relative, isn't it?
What I recommend doing, and every lager I do this. I do a forced fermentation.
Mm-hmm.
That is, you basically take some of the wort, and you pitch the yeast into your wort, and then you take off a sample, put that back on the stir plate, and even heat it up. In fact, if you got a little extra yeast you didn't pitch, put that in there as well to make sure that if you underpitched, it's just going to slow down your regular ferment. If on your forced ferment, you'll have plenty of yeast, so you'll get to terminal on the stir plate with a little bit of heat. You'll get to terminal like in 24 to 48 hours. So then you know your terminal gravity. So you can just go down and take a gravity check, and if you're like 1024, you know your terminal's 1008. You know how close you are.
Oh, that's a great way to get a little pre-measurement of what your terminal is supposed to be.
It's the terminal gravity. It is. That's your number.
Okay. Great advice. He wants to know if the tempo of bubbling, I assume he means the airlock or whatever, is the same or slower than in ales.
Slower.
You think it's slower?
Well,
probably depends. When you pitch 8 packs or 4 packs of yeast, it might not be.
Well, because ideally you should have been fermenting at 50 degrees, Clayton, for 2-3 weeks. Come on, let's get over your life for a second. But when you're raising it at 64, things are kind of dying off, but they might be increasing, so it might be steady. I don't know. I've never cheated with a lager, so I don't know.
He says his is slower.
Yeah.
So
well, he's also probably. He started at 40 whatever.
46.
It's not going to be very long, so it's going to be slowing down. Clayton, you've brewed enough beer, you know when fermentation's dying down, homie. You're good. You got this.
Yeah, bubbler rates. It's a good way to measure it. I've seen people get get crossed up when, if an really active ferment, especially if you have a lot of back pressure on your blow off, like you're using a blow off container, but you got a lot of liquid in it.
Yeah.
You actually build up a carbonation in the beer. So as your beer gets close into fermentation, it's not fermenting; it's just releasing CO2 that you built up.
I never thought about that.
Again, that's a good reason to know what your terminal gravity is. Just take a measurement, put that hydrometer in there. You know if you're there or not.
Okay. And then you partially answered this, but he does say, once I'm at Heikrausen, how many days before I start ramping up temps? And he says, I waited 3 days and then went 1 degree a day for another 2 days, then 1 degree per couple of hours until day 6. That's a lot of monitoring.
Clayton overthinks a lot of things. You just a degree a day if you're gonna ramp up, because you don't want to stress the yeast out or anything else.
Since the start of fermentation, or do you, like you said, you wait for 2 weeks at 50 degrees and then a degree a day?
Personally, I would wait until you're almost at terminal, like 3/4 of the way, and then you raise up for your diacetyl rest.
Got it.
That's that's the only way that I've ever tasted a lager that is worth a damn. So, like that.
Well, and that's his next question. Is a diacetyl rest after bubbling mostly stops, or still a fair amount of bubbling? Bubbling, by the way, really shouldn't be your measurement, should it?
Correct.
It's an observation. It means something. It's being gassed off. Something's happening there.
It's an indicator, but it's not. But yeah, like you said, it's an indication of how much gas is in the headspace. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's doing anything.
Okay.
Could be atmospheric adjustments that are either slowing or speeding it up. I don't know. But
should some fermentation be happening when you do your diacetyl rest, or you don't wait until it's done,
right?
Do you?
There should be plenty of yeast in your ferment to take care of that.
Yeah.
Even when you're done.
Yeah.
But you could.
But I certainly recommend doing it as you're still in ferment.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're within 10% of terminal. Yeah, I'd go ahead and raise it up to a diacetyl.
Treat it. I would guess like a dry hop, right? Because you want a dry hop when there's a little bit of activity.
If it was an
still
LA
left.
dry hop at 10% left, and if it was a lager, I'd do the diacetyl rest at 10%.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, and then after terminal gravity for a couple of days, do I slowly crash it or just slam it down to lagering temps?
Yeah. The general consensus is to slowly do it. Otherwise, the yeast will drop out, and then you won't have any yeast. You'll be able to transfer into the lagering tank.
Okay.
Another theory is no, you're not going to crash all the yeast unless you find it or something to get it all out of it.
Also, how fast can you really crash it on homebrewing equipment?
Well, he's raising it a degree an hour, so he must be sleeping down there with it or something.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. He left his phone number if you prefer to call. He said,
call him right now. Let's call him.
Yeah. I would if we didn't have such a great guest to get to here in a minute. But he does say thank you for all your time and the decade of, at least a decade, he said. It's actually been more, of entertainment and knowledge.
It hasn't been 10 years. It's been 11.
That's right. Yeah. And that's from Clayton. He does say, P.S., suck it, Alice.
Whoa!
And he says he had to be the first one to give our new BN family member a suck it.
Well, there you go.
So, all right. Thanks to Beer Law Center for bringing that feedback to us. All right, before the break, NeshemeneCreek.com. You can go there to check out one of our favorite brewers in the Philly beer scene, Neshaminy Creek Brewing, who's been on the map since 2012, and they've taken home 4 Philly Beer Scene Magazine awards for Brewer of the Year in 14, 15, 16, and 17, and they got 3 Brewery of the Year in the same magazine. So brewer and brewery. 2-time GABF Vienna-style lager winner, and bronze for their smoke lager. So they got some great beer. They also have a large, expanded, and recently renovated tap room with 24 beers on tap. 18 of them are rotating and seasonal, and a variety of beer styles, from hoppy double IPAs to sessionable and poundable lagers, all the way to oak-fermented saisons and sour beers. And they give free brewery tours on Saturdays. Go to NeshemeneCreekBrewing.com and check them out. And I highly recommend you tasting their beer no matter where you are or what you're doing, because they make really good beer. All right. We're that much closer to having Vinnie and Natalie in the studio with us. Very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a beer in my glass. We're going to get those two in here in the studio and save them from the crowds out there. You're listening to The Session. Hit our chat room on thebrewingnetwork.com or call us up, 888-401-BEER. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Are you a member of the White Labs Customer Club? If not, you should be. It's the easiest way to earn free stuff for turning in your old homebrew labels from either Vials or Pure Pitch. All you have to do is save your labels and redeem them for things like free yeast, an exclusive White Labs t-shirt or sweatshirt, and even the opportunity to brew with the yeast man himself, Chris White. Signing up is easy. Just go to whitelabs.com/customer club, fill out the registration form, and then mail in your labels. They will return the favor by sending you awesome White Labs swag. Go sign up today at whitelabs.com/customer club. White Labs, pure yeast and fermentation since 1995.
The 21st Amendment. Watch out! Do you like beer? They make beer. Watch out! Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun. Watch out! Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment. Watch out! The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring Monk's Blood. Made with real monk. Watch out! So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment. Watch out! This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
Brewing great beer is a process of continuous learning, and the best books on every aspect of brewing can be found at Brewers Publications, with more than 50 awesome titles like Modern Homebrew Recipes by Gordon Strong, Designing Great Beers, the Ultimate Guide to Brewing Classic Beer Styles by Ray Daniels, American Sour Beers, Innovative Techniques for Mixed Fermentations by Michael Tonsmeyer, For the Love of Hops, The Practical Guide to Aroma, Bitterness, and the Culture of Hops by Stan Hieronymus, and Radical Brewing, Recipes, Tales, and World-Altering Meditations in a Glass by Randy Mosher, plus many, many more. These are the books and the authors with the knowledge to push your brewing farther than you thought possible. And you'll find them all at fine homebrew and book retailers everywhere. And visit the website at brewerspublications.com. Brewers Publications, all the best on beer and brewing. Marin Brewing Company in Northern California has been making award-winning beers for more than 25 freaking years. Today, I want to tell you about their new 12-ounce cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale. The good stuff, Mount Tam is bright gold, 5.5% ABV to keep you feeling good, and has been winning awards since 1989. If you're visiting the Bay Area, get your butt out to Marin Brewing Company. They pour tasty beers and serve great food every day until midnight. Come in for a tour, stay for the food, and pick up a 6-pack of cans of Mount Tam Pale Ale to enjoy at home, camping, biking, or whatever the hell you do. Owner Brendan Moylan has this to say about Marin Brewing beers. It's freaking awesome. Marin Brewing has won more than 100 gold medals in international competitions. Check out marinbrewing.com for all their award-winning beers, food, and merch. Marin Brewing Company in Larkspur, California. Award-winning taste, refreshing finish. It's freaking awesome.
Tuned into this session because life's too short to listen to crappy radio.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. As I said, we got a great program for you tonight with two of our favorite guests. One of them, first time to the studio. So we welcome Natalie Cilurzo first.
Thank you very much. Very, very excited to be here.
Yeah, in all the years you've been spared our presence with your show appearances.
Yeah, I've only called in, so I'm honored to be here, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. And then, of course, Vinnie Cilurzo is back too. Welcome, Vinnie.
Hello.
We were going through our history together. Let me do this real quick before I forget. But hey, White Labs just released a mobile app. You know, our wonderful sponsor, White Labs. So whether you're a home brewer searching for your next strain or a professional putting in an order, White Labs Mobile has something for everyone. Key features include an easy-to-navigate ordering system, custom culture calculator to determine appropriate pitch rates, a homebrew store locator, up-to-the-minute inventory availability, and more. Go to iTunes or the Android store and search for White Labs to find it. We were talking about our history of interviews here. Vinnie has actually been on the show since our very first year in existence, back in 2005. And then I was trying to think, when did you guys even open? The year before that?
We opened the pub in 2004. And I started at Corbell at our original location in 1997.
Okay, that's right.
And when did this little
We
thing.
started in 2005.
Look at you now. Like, I remember I was saying to Natalie driving down, and then we were reminiscing. It was like, we were in your garage.
Yeah.
And I think the first time there was no soundproofing.
No.
And then, like, the next time, you must have eaten a lot of eggs, because it was all, like, egg crates and stuff on the roof.
Yeah, a little bit of soundproofing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually, it makes me proud, but surprised me that our companies have basically grown up together. Because when I think of Russian River and what you guys have accomplished, it seems like you've been around so much longer than me, mostly because we've accomplished this barely. We're doing the same thing.
You have a little empire
in
here.
a fancier location.
A little empire.
But we've grown up together.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting to me.
Those were, and we were in your garage.
Yeah.
That was
But
that was
arguably,
fun.
those days were a little more fun. Like now, you got to fight through the bar. Then you just went into my kitchen and grabbed a
It
beer.
was, yeah.
You know? Like, I miss those days.
Did you have a dog?
Yeah, two.
Too soon.
Actually, no, when you were around, we just had, there's not a picture of her in here. The Biscuit, my little pit bull.
Oh, okay.
And she would just come, and whoever the guest was, she would just sit on their feet.
Pretty much.
You missed out on that, Natalie.
I love dogs, too.
Yeah, she was a sweetheart.
That's cool, though. I feel very honored that I've been a part of this, and it's been a long time since I've been on, other than when we called in for the Sonoma Pride thing. But in person, it's been too long. But I also feel honored that I was a part of it way back in the day.
You've been vacationing in Spain for 4 years, right? So that's why you guys haven't been on. You guys have been touring the world and hanging out.
Been on holiday.
Just doing nothing.
Belgium.
Actually, this is what's still insane about you two to me, and that is how involved you still are. And I don't mean that other brewers aren't, but Vinnie, for example, still answers every email, not just from me, but every yokel, as far as I know.
I try.
But not only that, you're in the brewery, every day. And I guess I just say that is that after all these years, you're not doing less. You're now opening a new brewery. You don't feel like you should just have someone else do some of this stuff?
Here's a great story. So this morning, I'd scheduled to unload 150 barrel racks at the new brewery.
Okay.
And this is the brewery that's under construction.
The one you're building, yeah.
Yeah, and the guy Russell from Western Square. I don't think Russell listens to this show, but he
Nobody does.
Hello?
He should.
He after I unload the truck, I'm on the forklift. I borrow the forklift from the mechanical guys, and Russell goes to me. He goes, I got to be honest with you. When I was given your name and extension and it said Vinnie Cilurzo, owner, he's like, this isn't the guy I want to deal with. And then I show up today and you're on the forklift unloading the pallets for me. He's like, I stand corrected. I'm like, that's damn straight, mother.
One on the same guy.
Yeah, Russell.
But you do realize that a brewery of your success, this is a rare thing. I mean, it's not that other owners aren't involved, but they do sort of move on.
This is all we know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I think Vinny secretly loves driving the forklift. I mean, there is some
it was
pleasure,
super light, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's some pleasure in doing something that doesn't require making multi-million-dollar decisions.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, imagine you're a delivery driver, clearly in the beer industry, or at least familiar with it, and Ken Grossman comes out and helps you unload a sack of grain. That would blow your hair back, man. I imagine it's the same thing.
I respect it. I just worry that you two should retire and do something fun.
This is fun.
This is super fun.
All right.
We're still having fun.
Good.
So
That's
don't worry.
good, man.
So you have this.
I used to deliver down in this area. This was the end of my route. We call this the Far East Bay where you're at.
Oh yeah, so do we.
Where we're from.
It's out here.
And loop around and hit some accounts long before the hop grenade. But happy we're delivering here now and
we're
other accounts. And
we're so far out that even Brian Hunt wouldn't deliver it to us when we open this place. He's like, oh, that's Far East Bay.
Yeah.
And that guy, he drives everywhere or used to.
But even he's delegated that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, he's much, much older.
That's true. It was time for Brian had to relax. So you have this.
He did have to relax, man.
Right? You have another. I say another because you guys opened a brewery. Aside from the pub, what, 5 years ago?
10 years ago.
Oh, it was that long ago?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, you opened a production brewery. Mm-hmm. And my understanding was that even then, it wasn't even really to expand. It was to fulfill the demand that you already had for your beer. Is that about right?
Pretty much, yeah. So the plan was we would open the brew pub and then with cash flows from the brew pub, start building our business, do a little bit of self-distribution, and then eventually, hopefully, if things were going well, open a production brewery, which we did 4 years later in 2008. And so with the production brewery, we were able to start packaging our beer. We were able to start bottling it and kegging it, and then taking on a little bit of distribution outside of just our backyard. And so that, we're able to do successfully in 2008. But really, since 2004, when we opened the pub, we've only grown from, I'd say, about 2,600 barrels, maybe that first year, to 17,000 barrels last year. So our growth has been so slow and organic that this next move it's a big one, but it's still only about 2 to 3 times as much beer as we're making now.
Okay.
So we're still doing things the way we do them, which is slow and organic and comfortable for us. But it just takes us a while to do things.
Sure. Well, I don't want to skip over one step that if I were you guys would have found like the most frustrating step, and that is you opened the production facility in 2004.
2008.
2008.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. 2008. Sorry. But then how long did it take before you had to replace the piece of shit brewery that you bought from Dogfish Head?
From Sam.
2 years?
It was, let's see, it's been how many years at FC now?
I think it's been 2.5.
No. Well, it's been 3 years since we replaced the brew house, but we've been there since 2008.
So 10 years.
So it took 7 years to replace that jalopy of a brew house that we bought from Sam and Mariah.
Not giving Sam a break at all.
Right. So what I'm saying is that in essence, this new project is your fourth brewery in 14 years, really, if you think about
Pretty
it that way.
much.
Because you had the pub, you had twice at the production facility, and now, the new one.
And our plan is to sell Ferdinand Court, our current production brewery.
Okay.
And so that's why we replaced it. And as the story goes, we were gonna ask 2 breweries to brew for us while we were going to replace the brew house.
Yeah.
It was either Sierra Nevada or Firestone Walker.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we happened to be going down to the Invitational. And so Natalie and I said, okay, we were planning it all out. We were all nervous. We're like, okay, let's get Matt and David Walker together. And we always stay with Matt and Allison at the Invitational, which is always fun. And we're like, we'll get them together and we'll ask them together. Well, the weekend went on, and we never had them together. And finally, we're all out to dinner, and Matt's at like that table, and David's at like the other table.
Yeah.
And so we asked David, and before we could even get the question out, he was like, whatever you want. And we're like, okay. And of course, we love Sierra Nevada. Like, Ken is our mentor and whatever else, best friend.
Yeah.
But Firestone was actually a really good fit because they're a 50-barrel brew house. They're a pellet brewery and
IPA maker.
Right. And so then typically the night ends and Allison goes to bed, and then Natalie goes downstairs and goes to bed. And Matt and I are up like drinking, and we still haven't asked Matt yet.
Oh,
right.
Does he know David said yes at that point?
No, he doesn't know that David has said yes.
He doesn't even know what's coming.
He doesn't know what's coming. And I said, hey, I got something to ask you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so, we're going to expand the brewery in a few years, and we're going to need to replace our... He's like, yes. Like, I haven't even asked you.
Yeah.
He's like, whatever you want. My brewery's yours. It was literally that quick.
Wow.
And
I want to
brew
brew malt liquor.
Another Pivo for us.
Yeah, that's right. A celebration Pivo.
So
that's cool.
That literally is how it happened. And he was like, that was it.
What a great
gesture. Now, why wouldn't you keep the existing production brewery? Surely you can sell enough beer to run them both.
Well,
that was a good airplane joke right there. Stop calling me Shirley.
Yes.
We're able to accomplish everything we need at the new brewery. So we don't need to have a third brewery that we've clearly outgrown because the Windsor Brewery is a one-stop shop. It's an 85,000 square foot production brewery where we can make our barrel-aged sour beers, and we can make our pilsners and open top fermenters and Pliny the Elder as much as we want, other things, and have an R&D brewery and have a bigger pub and have et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we don't really need a third brewery.
Yeah.
Plus we need the money.
Okay.
So there's that. So so we are still looking for a buyer for it.
Okay.
And we've got a couple of interested parties, but we're still trying to accomplish that in the next couple of months.
Tasty and I will check our bank accounts after the show and see.
How much beer could I make there? You guys are making about 17,000 barrels out of there?
13,000
barrels out of there now?
If you don't make sour beer, you could probably bump it up to 15.
More fermenters over in that space or something?
No, just that you turn some of the tanks quicker. But more fermenters too if you wanted. That could take it. More fermenters would take it to like 20, 25,000.
So you're looking probably for somebody that's already established, in a 15 barrel. That wants to move up and expand it.
Yeah.
That's what I always respected about him. He was a home brewer.
What's that?
It's like you went and brewed your beer at all these other breweries,
right?
And you never did go commercial.
Oh, no,
you are like the best home brewer I know. So how many brewers have you worked for?
Bruce said one time, you've taken this home brewing thing about as far as anybody could. Possibly could. Yeah.
I mean, I got the care package from 21st Amendment with you on the can.
Sure. Yeah.
We've brewed tasty, Janet's Brown Ale. There's been,
I've given up writing a bucket list of things I want to do. This shit just happens.
It just happens.
Just happens.
I liked it when we were in Australia, and I swear, Tasty was way more popular than Vinnie.
Yeah,
down under.
He was. You were there on that trip.
knew who I was.
Actually, I'm
He
pretty
was like
sure,
a celebrity.
I'm
like
pretty
over-
sure you could have, because Chris White was on that trip too.
Right.
You could put Justin, Chris, and myself together, and Tasty was way more popular than the three of us combined.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could throw our spouses in too, and he was still.
It's true.
More popular.
It's perfect. It's how I get left alone now. I just Tasty's here, everybody.
Yeah.
All the crowds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing about you is like, what homebrewer has his own logo of himself?
That's true.
I have it in front of me.
Sure.
Yeah. He is fully branded. That's for sure.
Fully branded.
So does anybody have a permanent tattoo of your image?
Good question.
Not that I've seen.
He probably does.
All right, calling all listeners
I'd be
out
the
there.
last person.
If you
Yeah.
have a permanent tattoo of Tasty Mike McDowell on your body
Let me
somewhere,
know,
please take a picture of it and post it on their
There you go.
Facebook page or send
Tweet
them an
it or
email.
put it on
Tweet
the Brewing Network
Do
Facebook
something
page.
with it.
All right, well,
That's true, because
that would
we've
be
seen
freaky.
a lot of hop grenade tattoos, but I don't know that we've seen a Tasty tattoo.
That would
yet.
be
I'm not sure I'd
epic.
like that.
Yeah,
No.
he's getting flown to France this summer to go brew there. He does the world tour, so that's exciting.
And he told me before we went on that he's retired. I'm like, haven't you always been retired since we've known you?
Yeah,
I've had flexible hours, you know?
yeah. By flexible, all of them are dedicated to beer.
Tell me what, if there's a beer event, I just take off.
Now, can I ask you guys this question? And I ask because I think I know the answer, and it makes me proud of you guys, and I think other people would want to hear it. You know, since opening the pub and maybe then the second production facility and now this one, are you guys able to be self-funded? Is that part of why you've been so slow to grow, so that you could really save it and not have to sell pieces of the company to expand?
Yeah, a part of why it's taken us so long is that the most important thing that Vinnie and I wanted to accomplish was to buy out all of our investors. And so
from the beginning.
From the very beginning. Okay. And so we started with about 30. We had a couple of business partners and I think about 28 to 30 investors. And so over the years, we've been slowly but surely buying them out.
Great.
We were able to accomplish it 100% in 2014. And so Vinnie and I were then able to free ourselves to be able to explore the opportunity or the idea of growing our company. And so we decided to do it in a bigger way. And then it's honestly taken us that long to get a piece of property, because one of the biggest criteria for us was that we wanted to own the property.
Smart.
We did not want to rent anymore, because it's not only part of our financial security for the future, but we don't want to be beholden to anybody. So we're not. Right now, we're super beholden to a bank.
Okay.
But that will end. You know, that's not forever. And so once we get that debt paid down, then it's just me and Vinnie, and we own 15 acres in Windsor.
Wow!
And I don't know. I feel like we've really made a lot of really smart decisions, growing our company very slowly and organically.
Yeah.
And I know that the beer industry is kind of in a little bit of a state of change right now, but we're not worried about it because we're pretty set up, and we do have a retail business model with a healthy component of distribution in there too. So we're not 100% reliant on wholesale distribution, and we're not national. And I still feel really comfortable about what we're doing. I mean, it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah,
but
it is smart, and that's why I asked the question, because I think in today's climate and how funds are being spread around or not spread around, and how pieces are being bought and sold, it's relevant that you two really were more deliberate in how you would end up anyway.
Yeah,
we borrowed some money to buy out. Well, first, we borrowed money to build Ferdinand Court, the production brewery.
Yep.
But we paid that off. We then borrowed some money to buy out the investors.
Okay.
The first time.
Paid that off. And this is a big buyout or a big loan. But all along the way, in fact, a funny Sam Calagione story was he and I were on a panel in 2010 at the Craft Brewers Conference. And I had told him about the younger, earlier that year, the younger release. That was the year that it went crazy.
Yeah, it sold out in a day.
Yeah, and we basically I told Sam that we had bought a tank, a 200-barrel fermenter literally from all the sales of that day.
Oh, yeah.
And Sam and I were on this panel, and he's like in his great ways, laughing and giggling. He's like poking me. Tell them the story about you buying a fermenter in one day. And we literally had sold all the Younger out in one day, but it funded a tank. But we weren't going to buy that tank if we didn't pay cash.
Wow,
and then along the way, every piece of equipment and every lab piece of equipment, we have for a little brewery, we have an incredible lab. Every piece of equipment we bought, though, in the lab has been on cash. If we can't afford it, don't buy it. And I learned that from Corbel. Gary Heck ran Corbel and probably still does run Corbel that way. Until he bought Kenwood Vineyards, that was a borrow money, but he would always just pay cash. And if you can't afford it, it's a great way to do small growth. And that's something we've tried to instill in other breweries that have come to us for advice, is like, slow's okay. I think it's the rule of 8. If you grow, it's like almost 8% a year. In 10 years, you'll double the size of your business.
Makes sense,
and it's okay.
Yeah.
We've had other breweries come to us and say, we were going to either grow really fast or do it organically, and we did it the Russian River way.
Yeah.
And they're still in business.
And they're still in business. It makes us feel good.
Yeah. Well, and it's not rocket science what you're talking about, but it is somewhat anti to the American business model, which, there's the whole saying, without risk, there's no reward. Right? So a lot of people would look at that statement and say, well, forget about if I have the cash. I got to take some risk here. I'm going to take the loan. I'm going to double my brewery, because without risk, there's no reward. But you guys clearly have taken risks personally, but that's tempered with this. Well, if we can't afford it, though, that's too much risk for us.
And typically, I have, because it's usually me spending the money.
Yeah.
And Natalie has to okay it.
And say, Natalie's saying no. Or
somebody's got you under control.
I definitely have the fun part.
Yeah.
She's like the drummer that's in the back keeping the beat.
Nice.
And I'm just like going crazy. And, no, it's not true. But I literally justify everything. It's like our salometer, which is it's a $10,000 piece of equipment in our lab. It automatically counts the yeast cells. So you put a drop of yeast on the slide, you put it into the machine, and a couple minutes later, it automatically does the cell count, and it pulls it up on the computer screen. So when you're old like us, you can actually see it.
No, I've seen lab guys that have those. They're the happiest guys in the world.
They are.
The brewers will come and do their own cell counts.
They can, yeah. Although I like to have a checks and balance.
Oh, yeah.
The lab guy.
Independent.
The lab should be checking and balancing.
Sure.
Okay. But anyways, we shave 10 hours off our lab work week just by buying the salometer. It paid for itself just like that.
So Vinnie would then present something to me that says, I want to buy this $10,000 piece of equipment, and it is going to shave off, I estimate it's going to shave off this much time off of our lab tech's job, and at approximately this time, it will be 100% return on investment. So it's pretty good, because when it's not a revenue generating thing like that, but it is a cost savings thing, and it's a commitment to quality too. And so I'm always willing to buy something even if there is no real return on investment other than making better beer.
Got it.
That's the bottom line right there.
Better beer.
And I think I've done a presentation several times, a quality presentation at professional events, and I asked the question, will you dump a batch of beer?
Yep.
And everyone says they will in the industry, but when push comes to shove, will you really do it? This sounds bad, but I bet more than half the brewers or brewery owners won't do it, because when you start running 10 barrels at so 10 barrels is what, like 320 gallons, and there's 8 pints to a gallon, and I'm a brew pub and I sell it for $5 a pint. You're like, holy crap, that's $50,000, whatever it is, and it's
way
so much
more
money.
than half won't do that.
And what's cool is that every once in a while I get an email from a brewer, and they're excited that they dumped a batch of beer. They're like, I saw your presentation.
It's a badge of honor. Yeah, they want to let you know.
I swear I did it.
And the best badge of honor for me was we make this beer that we sell almost exclusively just at the pub called Hopfather. We make it maybe once a year. It just came back on Friday. And about 5 or 6 years ago, we brewed a batch, and it had a stuck fermentation, and I added a killer yeast to try to get it to ferment, and it just wouldn't go. And so we finally dumped it, except, you know, on our chalkboard we have the coming soon.
Yeah.
And we had already put up Hopfather.
Sure.
And it has this great local following. It's not like plenty of the younger world people come in, but the locals love it. And we get a lot of people from the Bay Area that come in.
It's one thing you can get they don't have to go in line for it. It's just like
yeah. And then we went and erased it off the coming soon. And then I was in the pub a couple days ago, and they're like,
hey, man.
Hey, where did it go? And I was like, yeah, we actually, I explained that we had to dump it and it had a stuck fermentation. I had never gotten so many high fives from our customers that were so proud that, like, you know what, they will dump 40 barrels of beer.
Of a popular beer.
Beer.
Not a new beer, a popular beer.
Yeah. That's how much they care about quality and care about us, the customer.
That's how much you care about them.
Yeah.
It's a direct, you know, you guys caring about them.
Yeah. And I've never, like, ever since then, it was like, wow. Like, we didn't think twice about dumping it. But I didn't think that would be the reaction. I've heard Brian Hunt say that, too, that he's gotten that reaction when he's told people that he dumped a beer for whatever reason.
Yeah, I was expecting to say the opposite, that they were bummed and upset with you that you put it on the board and then there's no beer. So
well, since
that's
then,
really great.
We don't put it on coming soon until after primary fermentation is over.
Got it.
Terminal.
I've done the same thing with my homebrew. I've dumped a few batches of beer, but mainly because it was easier than kegging it.
So the beer was fine?
The beer was fine, but I just didn't want to go through all the work. And I was like,
I was just lazy.
That's what happens.
Most homebrewers would say that about bottling, but kegging?
Yeah.
Kind of lazy.
It's very lazy.
Yeah.
We're a lazy company, really.
That's awesome.
That's why our growth is slow.
I almost didn't even tell that story. It was too much work.
As he sips on his beer.
I do want to talk about these beers before we have to take a break, but I do have one quick question for Natalie, and that is, you know, you mentioned that you know, Vinnie has to, you know, present these purchases to you, and I'm just curious, do you make him? It's like a formal presentation. Does he have to put on a suit and like a PowerPoint?
I do a PowerPoint,
and it's just you sitting on the other side of a very long table.
Yeah, that is exactly what our evenings at home look like.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love it if that Vinnie comes home, he starts to talk about it, and Natalie's like, excuse me, is this a presentation or not?
I'll meet you in the boardroom.
Because I don't see your laptop out, and you're not wearing a tie.
Yeah, where's my tea? What's going on?
This isn't on my calendar. I don't know what's going on.
Vinnie's like, well, I just thought we'd talk about it. Nope, this is not presentation
Send
time.
me an invite.
Yeah.
You know, the invite on your Outlook. You know,
You're literally sitting on the couch together, and you get an invite on your Outlook.
Right.
I was just curious. This is how I picture your life.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like.
You know, the funny thing is we don't have a conference room at the brewery. So
Not yet.
And we all share offices.
Okay.
We literally all share offices. So, like, if we have, like, a high-level meeting, one of us has to kick our office mate out.
Bring all the chairs over.
Yeah, when we hired our HR director, Carolyn, a few years ago, we didn't even have an office, so we built a wall up in Ben's and Bird's office, our distribution guys.
Okay.
And so Carolyn has to walk through their office
to get to her
office.
Get to her cube.
Yeah.
But HR needs an office. I mean, that's a thing, you know. So, because if Natalie, for example, is going to come in and complain about you, she's got to be in a private room.
Exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But then Carolyn's office.
I would love to see that file too.
Carolyn's office is on the way to the storage.
Right.
So like.
Just passing through.
High traffic.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's whatever you guys got. I assume the new building has offices galore, and you guys have now mapped this stuff out.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, as of late last week, we have a floor,
cool.
second floor in the hospitality, which is where all of our offices.
I climbed the ladder and took a picture. She hasn't been up there yet, but I was there on Friday, and I climbed the ladder and took a picture from her office.
From her office.
And the weird thing is our offices are a lot closer together than they are now at our current area.
Somebody commented on that, like, I see your offices are a little closer together.
Yeah.
Getting along better these days, are we?
Yeah. Well, a while ago there was a story on, like, I don't know, it was like the Brewers Association's website, and I think it was like a Valentine's Day story of husband and wife teams.
Okay.
And one of Natalie's, like, critical successes was, our offices are on the other end of the building.
Yeah, makes sense.
Every office will be shared with a fermenter moving forward, though.
Yeah,
that's
well,
going to be the caveat.
That was next if we didn't move.
I see. She was going to come in one day, and the cool ship was going to be in her office. I mean, because it actually makes sense. Each of our offices is 13 by 13 right now.
Okay.
And the cool ship that we're putting into Windsor is 12.5 by 12.5.
That is perfect.
It'll fit perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to weld it into place.
I honestly would not mind sharing my office with a cool ship.
No, that would be okay.
She could be like on a raft or
the floating desk.
On the floating. Yep.
Really floating.
Now we're talking.
That'd be great.
Well, we are going to talk more about the brewery, but let's talk beer for a second before we have to go to a break. So we have in our glass right now, is it Ron Mexico?
We do have Ron Mexico.
It's a pale ale?
Yeah, it's a hoppy pale ale session. I hate the term session IPA.
Thank you. That's fine.
It's, you know what?
What's a pale ale?
The session IPA is a pale ale.
Yeah.
Hate's a strong word, my mom taught me. I'm pretty sure my mom's not listening, though.
It's a marketing term, right?
But,
I mean, session IPA is a marketing
pale ale.
thing.
But
Okay.
anyway, so this is a hoppy session ale. It's 4.5% alcohol. One of my favorite malts is an English malt called Simpson's Best Pale.
Okay.
Simpson's is a family-owned, multi-generation. Unfortunately, Peter passed away last year. Peter Simpson passed away, and he was a dear friend of ours, but an amazing malt company. So most of the malt in this is an English malt to give it a lot of malt backbone and foundation. But it's using this hop, HBC, Hop Breeding Company 438. But within the beer industry, we call the hop Ron Mexico.
Why is that? How did it get that
Why
name?
is it called Ron Mexico? So our good friend Jason Peralt bred this hop. And his predecessor and his mentor was this gentleman by the name of Chuck Zimmerman. In his day, I always call Jason like the Michael Jordan of hop breeding. So
we've had him on. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, he's cool. He has like 4 of our beers on tap right now up at his ranch because we have a bunch of his one-offs on, including Ron Mexico. But Chuck would be like the Magic Johnson then, the generation before.
Okay. Yeah.
And literally everything Jason knows, he learned from Chuck. And this hop was actually, they call it that it's got lineage to Neo-Mexicanus, meaning that it's got lineage to New Mexico, that a part of what bred into this was from New Mexico, was American. And so Neo-Mexicanus is a term you hear thrown around because there's several breeders using it. And this was something that he had that lineage, but it was out in the field, and it was actually something that Chuck started.
Oh.
So the fact that he's bringing this forward, I'm sure, means a lot to him.
Sure.
Because Chuck taught him a lot. And this was out in his hop yard for years. And Carl van Evenhoven, at the time, I think he was running the extract plant at Yakima Chief, was a local home brewer and in the hop industry, was looking for a unique hop to make a wet hop beer for a wet hop festival up in Yakima. And they were walking through the fields, and Carl grabbed this hop, and he goes, "Man, this is really interesting. I've never smelt anything like it." And Jason goes through his clipboard that he always carries around when he's in the hop yard.
Wow.
It's like, and that's like the coolest thing to do when you're in Yakima, is to go through the experimental field with Jason.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember about this." And basically, he and his then assistant Marcos Ramos had basically pollinated this thing, an open pollination, where they literally like put a bag over the vine and they just let it go. And using this Neo-Mexicanus, I assume that was the male, and because all hop plants are female that we harvest from, and Ron Mexico was the result of it. So Chuck had passed away, unfortunately, at that point, and so in honor of Chuck and being that it had the Neo-Mexicanus lineage, they called it Chuck's Mexican.
Got it.
But after Carl brewed with it and they realized it's amazing. So when you drink this, you don't think of the flavor of what it is. Want to guess? Because once I tell you, you're going to be like, maybe you're a super palate. I don't know.
We're guessing the flavor?
No, I'm the worst palate.
Then why are you the host of a beer show?
I know, man. Now you sound like my listeners.
Peach or stone or I don't know, some sort of stone.
Cilantro?
It's mint.
That
was close. Wow. That's the closest I've ever got.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, but when you smell it and taste it, it's mint, and specifically when it's colder, it's spearmint. It's
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Okay.
And I've never seen a hop like this. And so anyway, so after Carl brewed with it a few times, Jason was they changed it to Ron Mexico.
Okay.
Story behind Ron Mexico at the time, that was when Michael Vick was having his trouble with the dog fighting, but he also had to check himself into a clinic for an STD, and that was his alias, was Ron Mexico.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, that's cool. I didn't know that. Wow.
So they named the hop after
Michael Vick.
Because it was current events at the time.
But
That's the only reason.
This is going to be the official name of the hop? That's too bad.
No, it's 438.
I know.
There is no way.
Well, because you're drinking a hop named after Michael Vick's STD treatment.
I know, but it's hilarious. And the reason I ask is because I assume Jason gets to name it.
No.
Oh, it's not his hop?
It's a vote.
Oh.
It's a vote between the people that own the hop breeding company, which is a few other hop people.
Unfunny people, probably.
Right. I would have just so much more respect even for
Pretty
Jason if he's like, listen, it's Ron Mexico. I don't care.
I'm just going to throw this out. We have one of the hops in Hopfather now is 6. Let's see, our hop is 692 that we love, so 682, and it's a 20% alpha hop.
Jesus.
And I told Jason, I'm like, you should name it Andre the Giant.
Yes.
So,
and what's wrong with having a little fun with these names anyway?
Yeah. But anyway, so they nicknamed it Ron Mexico, and it has caught in the industry. And everyone in the industry, nobody calls it 438.
It's
they
all
call it
Ron Mexico. I love it.
Why would you?
And the cool thing about the hop is that Jason also, when he brought it to me, and Natalie and I rubbed it with him in the field, and we're like, this is amazing. What he wanted to do is he goes, I've always wanted to do a homebrew release hop first, and that's what this hop was, 438. So I said, well, let's do this. I'll brew the only commercial batch.
Okay.
And then you guys can bag up a bunch of dime bags, as I call them, of Ron Mexico hops, and then we'll go to the homebrew conference. It was in San Diego, I don't know, a handful of years ago.
Okay.
And we released it, and then Carl was with us.
You poured the beer you made.
Yep. Yeah, so I poured our commercial beer. Carl poured his homebrew.
Yeah.
Jason talked about the hop. And the hop was released to homebrewers first. It's the only time a hop's been released, and now it's just finally getting released commercially. But for 2 years, it was a homebrew only hop, and then all the proceeds from the hop go to Ales for ALS.
Oh, nice.
So,
when it goes commercial as well, everything is.
I think at that point probably not.
Okay, but all the homebrews so far, that's very cool.
Yeah,
it's a great beer. We have another pale ale of yours on tap too, and I'm happy because I needed some consoling. We just had a funeral here for Pale 31 on Friday night. We got the last keg, and we did a whole funeral. I made it. I'll show you. I actually made a memorial video for it. It's kind of ridiculous.
But the flip side is Firestone Lager is back. And
that's
you had
true.
It yet?
No, I have not.
It's a Hellas, and it is spectacular. Matt was so nice to send us a couple 6-packs of cans.
I want to check it out.
I'm okay with that trade.
I know you're all right with that.
You can use a good Hellas in the world, let me tell you.
That's true. But I'm such a pale ale fan. This is a great beer. I like it. Yeah. I like how light it is too. It's kind of I don't even know. I guess it's a West Coast pale ale, but it's just it's not overly hopped or overly. Yeah. It's not overly anything.
And
it's
there's
very
a good malt foundation. And that's that
little honey sweetness to the malt.
That's that best pale that we use. And I think that's something that consumers need to understand is that a lot of when you make a low alcohol hoppy beer, and so you've got maybe a little less hops, but you're still having a pretty good amount of hops.
Yeah.
But the malt we're adding, compared to what we add in Pliny, which has a ton of malt to get to 8%.
Okay.
But for this, we're adding malt that costs like 2 or 3 times as much per pound.
Really?
To get that malt foundation, which the best pale does. And so a lot of home brewers and brewers know, so like there's Glen Eagle, Maris Otter and Glen Eagle's I think one company's like floor malted version of it. But so let's say Maris Otter, and it gives you that super big, rich, nutty malt foundation. But to me, that doesn't play well with American hops.
Okay,
like this hop or a standard IPA hop. But the best pale sort of
kind of does.
Yeah, it kind of rides the line. It gives you the big mouthfeel.
Without that grainy, kind of chewy thing.
Nutty, biscuity thing. Exactly.
And this special pale, you've got that in your other beers as well.
And even Blind Pig, our IPA that You still drink that?
All the time.
I'd walk out.
It's my fave.
No.
Yeah.
25% of the malt bill of Blind Pig is Best Pale, and I love Best Pale. We've been using it for years.
Okay.
And
how does that compare with like a Golden Promise, which to me gives what you're describing a very similar flavor, kind of that sweeter on the edge?
Yeah, I think Golden Promise is like between Best Pale and Maris Otter.
Really?
It's a little bigger than Best Pale.
Okay.
Which is why I like Best Pale so much.
I see what you're saying.
But there's not. I don't know how many homebrew shops sell Best Pale, but they should. Because there's an amazing malt.
That's why I asked, because Golden Promise is kind of out there.
Yeah.
Not as much as I think it should be, but it sounds like Best Pale is, well, it's best. It's better.
Yeah.
Let's have to check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they
check
did.
that out, 'cause I love Golden
I've got
Promise,
a Blind Pig
man.
on the ferment now that homebrew batch. And I wish I had this Simpsons beer, Simpsons malt, because I couldn't get it at my homebrew supply store.
It's good stuff.
Well, we have another beer here, but it's probably my favorite beer that you make, and I don't really want to rush through it. Do you think it can survive through a break?
Yeah.
A little 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Because
it was also number 1 on the board out there, I noticed.
Yeah, no coincidence there. I didn't request beers at all this time. I just said, hey, can you guys work on this event? And then your team was working with my team.
I didn't know either.
And they came and told me the list the other day, and I went, holy shit, did he really send beatification? So I'm really excited. That's what we're going to be talking about next when we come back from the break. And real quick, don't forget to go over to craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American craft beer. You can go to craftbeer.com today for beer news, events, tasting tools, pairing suggestions, and so much more. We love them over there from the Brewers Association and craftbeer.com. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to discuss one of the best sour beers on planet Earth, in my opinion, beatification. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Your support of the Brewing Network means everything to us. We couldn't produce shows without you. And we love giving you something extra for that support, like Brew Your Own magazine. You already know it's a great brewing magazine full of recipes, equipment how-tos, discussions of beer styles, and brewing techniques. Whether you're new to brewing and just starting out, or you're an old pro, you'll always learn something from the articles in Brew Your Own. Plus, there are amazing special issues like plans for building a Brutus 10 system, 250 classic clone recipes, and the Homebrewer's Answer Book. Brew Your Own magazine and BYO.com are awesome resources for any brewer, whether for yourself or as a gift. When you subscribe or resubscribe from the Brewing Network homepage, you directly support programs like this. Get a great magazine and support the Brewing Network. Subscribe to Brew Your Own right from thebrewingnetwork.com.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SanaClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. Are you looking for a simple brewing system that's great for all grain brewing, but everything on the market seems to be full of compromises? Blickman Engineering has the answer. The Blickman Brew Easy All Grain Brewing System. The Brew Easy is a complete system with easy upgrades and a beautiful compact design, perfect for any size brewing location. At its core, the Brew Easy is built on 2 gorgeous Blickman Boilermaker brew kettles, a high-temperature March pump, and either a top-tier gas burner or the new Boil Coil electric heater. The Brew Easy adapter lid allows the pots to stack stack on top of each other, forming an efficient, strong, and compact brewing setup that comes in 5, 10, and 20-gallon batch sizes. Upgrade your Brew Easy system with full automated control by adding a Blickman Tower of Power temp controller, and make moving around easy with the Blickman Kettle Cart. The Brew Easy is modular. If you already own a Boilermaker kettle, you can build your Brew Easy by purchasing just the modules you need. The new Brew Easy all-grain brewing system. See it today at BlickmanEngineering.com and brew with Blickman quality on your new Brew Easy.
Hey guys, what'll it be?
I'm not sure. What do you recommend?
A lot of people seem to like the Hefeweizen.
Is that a German Hefeweizen or more of an American-style wheat beer?
I'm not sure, but I can give you a taste.
Okay, great.
The Cicerone Certification Program certifies and educates beer professionals in order to elevate the beer experience for consumers. Unfortunately, not every bar is staffed with certified beer servers who can guide their customers through a beer list.
Here you go, guys. Let me know what you think of the Hefeweizen.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely more of an American wheat. But I can hardly tell because this beer just smells like sour butter. I wonder how long it's been since they cleaned the draft line.
Yeah, and look at the bubbles on the side of the glass. It's filthy.
Somebody should tell these guys about the Cicerone program.
For sure. How about we head somewhere else for another beer?
Your server should give beer the same respect you do. Request quality. The Cicerone Certification Program offers 4 levels of beer certification, in-person classes, and course books for beer professionals. Check them out at cicerone.org. The Cicerone Certification Program. We know beer.
This is Corey King from Side Project Brewing, and you're listening to The Session on the Brewing Network.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hello to you folks over on Facebook Live. We appreciate you tuning in also, and on live stream, and on the podcast. Everybody listening everywhere. You should also go to greatfermentations.com, a great sponsor of ours. They got the largest catalog of Blickman products on the web, and their staff is some of the best trained in the business using Blickman products. They've got top-notch customer service and same-day shipping on so many items. Check them out at greatfermentations.com, and like them over on Facebook while you're here, GR8 Fermentation, and Instagram and Twitter. GreatFermentations.com. All right, we've got Vinnie and Natalie Cilurzo in the studio with us, having a good time tasting beers. And before the break, I promised we would get to my favorite, beatification.
Yep. You're number one on the list.
That's right.
Also, I've emailed you 2 questions from the chat. Okay. Not pertaining to this segment or anything, but just so FYI.
Yeah, you can hit the chat room on our homepage or call 888-401-BEER if you want to ask questions.
Do all those people in
guests.
Australia still call in like in the old days?
You know, they don't.
Like, that always blew me away of like, what time is it in Australia? And they're calling 18 hours ahead.
I'll tell you what happened.
That's who ate all the pies.
We did away with Drunk of the Week a few years back, and that curtailed our Australian listenership.
Cricket's not as interesting if you can't be hungover and or hammered.
Well, because the reason you would be awake at that hour,
You're on all night.
They had their day off and they were day drinking with us.
That's exactly what I totally forgot about the Drunk of the Week. That was awesome.
We did away.
I didn't.
You know, it had a mixed amount of love. Some people thought it was the best part of the show, and others thought it was the worst, and it got tedious. So,
All right. So Australia listenership is down for the Brewing Network.
I'd say it's not down. Just their calling. They don't take days off just to live listen anymore.
I also think it got kind of sad because it was always the same guy calling.
After a while,
and eventually, like all the fun drunks petered out, and it was the sad, like, well, she won't sign the divorce papers.
I know.
And so I'm on my 18th barley wine. You want to hear me chug it and then, walk my dog on the moon? I don't know. It got really weird and esoteric for a second.
It did.
I'm going to shoot a shotgun. Okay, keep it away from your face.
And if you think about it, too, our listeners don't like to admit this, but speaking of growing up together, I mean, in some ways, us and our listeners have grown up together, too. So do we still do stupid shit on the air? Absolutely. Just not as much of it. And I think our listeners have sort of gone that route as well. No longer are they calling and bringing the phone into their sleeping wife to wake her up for Drunk of the Week. So, yeah.
Okay.
Good or bad.
Thank you for the update.
So tell me about beatification and the process of this beer. You only release this once a year, right?
sometimes less than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've been on a roll lately with this. We've been making a lot of spontaneous beer.
Okay.
So we make what we call Synambic.
All right.
So lambic is a very treasured and protected word, if you will, from a brewing standpoint. It's kind of like champagne and sparkling wine.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we respect the Belgians like no other, and so lambic is a term that is only theirs. You can only make spontaneous fermented beer, which is lambic, in Belgium.
Okay.
And if you want to get even deeper, it's even specifically into a certain region in Belgium. So anyway, so we came up with this playful term, Synambic, Sonoma and Lambic. It was actually Brian Hunt's idea.
Okay,
so
nice.
he to give
mad genius.
Yeah, to be fully transparent. So we make multiple batches of Synambic each year in our barrel room at the pub.
Okay.
So if you're into our pub, all those barrels you see behind the bar, it's in there. There's a 19-foot-long tank that's about, 4 feet, 3 feet deep and about 3 feet wide.
Yeah.
And that's a lot deeper than a cool ship. So we call it a horny tank. Okay. Because you pump the wort in, and the wort hangs there overnight, and it's horny because it's picking up all the wild yeast in the air that's in the room. and then the next day we put the wort into the barrels.
Okay.
So if everything's going right, when we come in 18 hours later, the wort looks just like it did when we left it 18 hours ago. We do come in and mix it every 6 hours because different than a cool ship. A cool ship, you pump your hot wort in, and it's typically up in the rafters in the attic of your brewery.
Right.
And the cool air comes in and cools it overnight in the winter. With the horny tank, we're actually pumping cooled wort at 68 Fahrenheit, 20 C for our metric listeners here.
Yeah, thank you.
And I didn't know the metric system until we started building a brewery with all German equipment.
And then you had no choice,
quickly,
right?
Yeah, and it's funny. Everyone on the project has a converter app on their phone.
Oh, yeah.
To convert. And like recently, the job superintendent for the general contractors, like, okay, the height of the tank is 300 millimeters, which is like 11.54 inches, and he goes 12. He goes, I'll just round it up to 12. I'm like, no it's got to be 300.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's 300.
Wow.
Whatever. Anyway, so back to the beer. So we take multiple batches of Synambic and make a blend. So technically, Synambic is our version of Lambic, and then our blend, which is beatification, would be Goose. But we don't follow the traditional Goose blend, which is a blend of 3 year, 2 year, and 1 year lambic.
Okay.
We kind of approach it more like a painter, and he's got his palette, and he's just going to do whatever colors.
A blender.
Or a blender, and so this has probably like 8 or 9 batches of Synambic blended into it, but it's disproportionate. So there is a lot more older stuff and less younger stuff. Because if you blend too much young spontaneous fermented beer, you're going to get a really heavy, what I call Goodyear tire. GYT. And,
I know
there's
this flavor.
There's an acronym that I write on the tasting sheet, and Stephen, our production manager, was like, what does that stand for? I'm like, Goodyear tire.
Obviously. I see.
The flavor.
Wait, and real quick, did you say all of the Synambic comes out of the pub?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't make any spontaneous beer out of the pub.
Or out of the
production brewery.
Interesting.
But you're making an ingredient for making the final beer.
The wort is a very traditional lambic recipe, so it's about 35% unmalted wheat, and the rest of it's malted barley.
Okay.
All aged hops. In fact, all of our sour beers are aged hops.
Okay.
And so we have a whole aged hop program. We keep
You
like
age
10,
them yourself.
Yeah, 10, 12. Although we got a call from, I think it was Ninkasi recently.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we hear you use aged hops. And they gave us like 3,000 pounds of aged hops. And thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
And like, all you got to do is pay for shipping. And we're like, we'll take them.
Yeah, because they're just old shitty hops to them.
We'll be in Yakima.
Yeah.
We went into I think it was Blake Crosby's farm, in Oregon, and and I saw these bales. I'm like, those look pretty old and tired. He's like, yeah, I'm going to throw them out. I'm like, I'll take them.
Yeah, don't throw that out. Wait, and you were about to say you have hops as old as like 10 years or something?
We've got stuff that's like 8 or 10 years old.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and I'm just collecting hops. I'm like a hoarder.
Okay.
You know that show?
Yeah, this is you.
You're going to find
me with
Vinnie
hops.
crushed underneath 4 barrels of hops.
Right. I actually picture that
That's pre-Civil War hops.
Vinny's like office and house, like that's all spotless. He's not a hoarder there.
Right.
But when it comes to ingredients or something, that shit's just everywhere. You hoard.
All of our furniture is just bales of hops.
They'll get used, but it's recycling.
It's like being in a hootenanny.
Yeah. You take a chainsaw, you can cut a bale of hops into a
chair. Yeah. It's very nice.
So you talked about a really small cool ship. What about the new brewery? What are we going to find there?
So the new brewery is going to be a proper cool ship. So again, what we use at the pub, I call a horny tank, and we've never ever said that our beer is done traditionally. I took a trip to Belgium with Sam Calgione, Adam Avery, Rob Todd, and Tommy Arthur. Like 12 or 13 years ago now.
Okay.
And it was for Sam's second book, I think, that he wrote. And it was
How to Be Amazing Part 2 or whatever it was.
You know what? Yeah, it's like how to tiptoe out of a bar and leave you with a beer in your hand.
Yeah.
So.
And the bill.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And Mariah, his wife's like, Mariah, his wife's like, I have 3 kids. You know, I have Greer, Sammy Jr., Sam Sr.
Right.
So.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Greer once told, because I was staying there when we were buying their brew house, and she goes, "Oh, that's the guy whose logo looks like Tasty Queen or Dairy Queen or something like
Dairy Queen."
Dairy Queen.
It does.
So, and then we made them T-shirts. Like we made their kids shirts that said "No Randall Required."
Nice.
And their kids wore them to school.
That is fantastic.
Inside thing.
So, but anyways, and of course the other kids didn't know what a Randall was.
Right.
So,
They don't know.
What were we talking about?
Kids.
Your new cool ship.
The new cool ship. So we've never said that our process is traditional. And after that trip to Belgium with my friends, Natalie and I were back there like a few weeks later, and it was just us at Cantillon. And we spent almost a whole day there with Jean, and he tasted through all these barrels. And he said to me, "You can spontaneously ferment beer anywhere in the world, but it may not be the same process we use." So I went home and used our mash tun as a horny tank. And that was actually an idea that Tommy and I had put together on the flight back from Belgium. And so we would use our mash tun as a horny tank. And the very first time I did it, I put the wort in too warm, and I came back the next morning, and it was fully fermenting in the mash tun.
Wow.
We had a full fry pictures of it.
So what would be the difference between that and kettle souring? People talk about kettle souring, but that sounds like almost the same thing.
It was kind of somewhat similar.
Okay.
And kettle souring is you're running wort to your kettle, and you're letting it sit for usually 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it'll get to a pH in the low 4s. And then you start the boil.
So then you
the
still boil it.
bacteria.
Okay.
Yeah, whereas here, we mashed, ran off, boiled, heat exchange back to the mash tun.
Got it.
Brain removed, of course. And then let it sit overnight and let all the microbials in there kind of go to work. But it was truly spontaneously fermenting. And then eventually we added this horny tank. But now at the new brewery, it's going to be a 12.5-foot square, 15-inch tall vessel, so pretty shallow. Mm-hmm. With only 10 inches of liquid, of hot wort in it. And it's up on floor 2.5. It's our Bean John Malkovich floor.
Okay, yeah.
And so the bottom of the cool ship is the top of the cool ship is at the bottom of the windows in the room, and all the windows are operable. And then there's 2 fans in the ceiling which turn on and pull air out, so it kind of is a convection effect, and it'll bring in the cool air from the outside. And we'll do it just like in Belgium. We'll only do it in winter.
And you'll put warm wort in there?
Yeah, So we'll just bypass the heat exchanger. Sure. And you imagine buying a $2 million brewery from Germans and telling them and we also are going to make a beer that we're not going to cool the wort, we're not going to add yeast.
Oh no!
And that's the beauty of Zeman is they looked at it and we were like, cool, what can we do to make it better? And
they were okay with that. Huh?
I thought they would have disowned you right then.
How very Western of them.
Yeah.
There was some other companies we spoke with that were trying to tell us how to make our beer.
Oh, love that. And I'm sure you're polite, so you're like, okay, just build the thing.
So
let me ask you this, because I want to make sure I'm understanding. So you're telling me that this beer here by beatification, is 100% spontaneously fermented, and it's from several blends.
Yep.
And the reason I want to double-check this, and my memory might be wrong, but I thought I remembered several years ago you guys producing a beer that you let me know, or you advertised specifically that it was just put out like in the field in Sonoma to be like inoculated by Sonoma yeast. I thought I remembered you guys making a specific beer to be inoculated with Sonoma yeast.
We call
Wild
it
yeast.
Synambic. So the base beer for this beer we call Synambic, but I think we talked about that already. But I don't know.
You did. I guess
But we never. Wrong brewery.
Wrong brewery.
No, I think it was you guys, but maybe my memory is wrong in the sense of how you put this beer out, because and maybe it was like an unblended one that you put out or something.
We've never done that.
You haven't? Okay.
No.
Then I might have you confused.
I maybe talked about it once.
Okay.
I mean,
the reason I'm bringing it up and that I thought it was you is that I didn't like the beer, and I thought
it definitely wasn't us.
It wasn't us.
And I remember, and what I remember thinking is that, well, this can't be done everywhere. You can't just let it be done everywhere, because sometimes the flora and the fauna just isn't going to be good for your beer.
No.
But this is not accurate.
Yeah, no, we've always done it in our barrel room.
Okay.
What beatification was before this, so this is like super funky, and in the early batches of beatification, so in the old days, for those that drank Russian River beer for a long time, they remember the batch numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and still like the old timers are like, what's the batch number on this? And it was like, well, we date stamp now, so I don't remember, but they still want to hold out for like, well, okay, I think it was 5 batches of beatification ago that you started date stamp, so this is batch 11. But we actually don't know. But it's become a lot less sour. It's become more funky, and I think it's become more lambic and goose-like.
Right.
And I love goose. And the whole reason we started making Temptation was I wanted to take my favorite component of lambic, which is Brettanomyces, and use it in a beer, which we did. And then we started doing the spontaneous beer, Synambic, and eventually blended them. But the very first batch of beatification was not a spontaneous beer.
Okay.
And we got 2 barrels from New Belgium, from Peter Buchart, who we were talking about earlier that you just had on.
Yeah.
And they were 2 random barrels. We were supposed to get 20 barrels from Peter, and I was going to ship 10 to Tommy, and we were going to keep 10. He only shipped us 4 because all the employees took them and cut them into planters.
Oh, no!
These were New Belgium's original barrels.
Wow.
Like original that made, like, to me still the best Slothfully ever.
Yeah.
And they got cut into planters. And I randomly
they'll
kept
rot
2.
away in like 4 years anyway. Like, come on.
I randomly kept 2 and I sent 2 to Tommy, and I put a Belgian blonde, probably Redemption, in it, which we have in the fermenter now, coming out in a week or 2. And Lauren Salazar, who runs the barrel program there, she was out visiting us, and she goes, "Hey, whatever happened to those barrels?" She goes, "Can I see them?" So we took them into her and whoever she was with into the barrel room, and she sees one, and she's like crying and cursing Peter Buchart at the same time.
Wow.
And it's PH1.
The storied PH1.
Yeah. And so, and I didn't know until a couple of years after Rare Barrel opened that that's what they had named the Rare Barrel after. I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
And I almost had tears when I was told that story.
Yeah, what a circle.
Yeah.
And so the barrel is now being passed around.
It's back to Peter. Do you know? Did you? I just tasted a beer out of it the other day.
Yeah.
Just folks, if you want the story of PH1 and the Rare Barrel's name, just search the Rare Barrel on the Brewing Network. Go listen to their episode, and you'll hear about that.
It's a great story.
Actually, I would just email Vinnie directly, and Vinnie will type it out to you.
Yeah. But the Rare Barrel guys delivered it back to Peter, and it's now in his new brewery,
as it should be,
in Fort Collins. Yeah, getting the treatment.
Yeah, and I tell Jay from the Rare Barrel, and I think he finally saw the movie. I said, "Have you seen the movie The Red Violin? Have you seen it?"
Yes.
The Red Violin, and so the Rare Barrel is the red violin of the craft beer industry.
It's true.
And Sam Jackson does such a good job in that role, and he's the what's his role? He's like valuing the
appraiser.
He's the appraiser. Thank you.
Yes.
And anyways, That's PH1. It's the rare barrel that's being now passed around, and if
I hope that goes on for generations.
I do too, and like it needs a website now.
It does. Where is PH1? It needs a Twitter account.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Jay and Alex to see if we get that set up.
But
it's a beer with its own backstory.
Yeah.
But I was saying that this beer now is a lot less sour than it was in the early days. In the early days, it was bracingly sour. The first time
I remember that.
made, so it would have been batch 2. A friend of ours and I were in Belgium, and I took a bottle to Cantillon to have them taste it.
Yeah.
That's like taking the Pope holy water. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I would never do that.
And they tasted it, and it was weird. It's like they were like, "Oh, are you going to bring your American lambic?" I mean, I would never put that on the label, and they didn't mean it directly.
Sure, yeah.
But it was cool having them taste my very first spontaneous beer, and it was inspired by them.
What was their feedback?
It was too sour.
Yeah, okay.
But they didn't spit it out.
Now, did they say something like you easily could have blended out the sourness if you did the 1, 2, and 3 year thing like we told you, or did they just think it had fermented too sour?
It just fermented too sour.
Okay.
And at the time, because of the process, it was always going to be sour. But now, the way we do it, it's super.
Because that's the beauty of the blending, right? Like you could have taken one that had maybe was less sour or younger, and
we definitely see that now with like 9 batches.
Okay,
going
now,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But I like that we're doing it our own way.
Yeah.
And that I like even once we get the new cool ship going.
Yeah.
I don't want to just adhere to the tradition of 3, 2, and 1. If I want that, I'll go out to your fridge, and I saw a bone, I think, out there in your fridge.
Yeah, there might be. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, and especially speaking of the new brewery. You know, Jean from Cantillon, he used to say, I don't know if he says it anymore, but like if he moved breweries without all the shit on the wall to make his beer what it is, his beer would change. And you guys have been making these beers in the pub, and then I assume the barrels are held at the production facility. But now everything is going to go to the new facility. Are you afraid the beer is going to change because you don't have all the same stuff?
Bugs and critters?
Flora, fauna?
So when we do our barrel beers, the Brettanomyces we pitch is it's a pitched quantity. It's a cell count that we do. It's so many, cells per milliliter, million cells, 2 million, whatever it is for that beer.
Got it.
But the bacteria is the dregs from Synambic barrels, which comes from the pub. So all the souring that happens at FC, the production brewery, is dregs that we grow up
from those
barrels.
Okay. So it's a nursery there at the pub, basically. And it'll continue to be that.
I never thought of it that way. But our barrel room, that little 200 square feet is a nursery.
Right.
That's
the babies
cool.
are born.
Sometimes in more ways than one.
And it'll supply Windsor with those same juices.
It will. It will. And it's funny, I was talking to some of the guests out here earlier at the Hop Grenade, and
we apologize for them.
No. They were asking me about. We were talking about the sour beers and the funk, I basically said, like, as our bacteria house culture changes, so do our beers.
Okay.
We don't have our funky sour bacteria culture banked anywhere.
Got it.
It's as it changes, our beers change,
and that's fine, right? I mean, it's
the
how
beers
you want
are
things.
wild.
Yeah. They still are similar to me, though. So I actually do. Maybe now, just because you mentioned it, I remember beatification being very sour.
Yeah.
But now, every time I open a bottle, I know, it tastes like beatification.
Yeah, it still has
of course it's going to be different.
Similar base. And for the other ones, temptation, consecration, and supplication, those are like 90% the same because we do very much treat them like a batch of beer.
Okay.
But if you think about it, the bacteria is still being...
It's going to do its thing.
It's still being grown at the pub through our nursery.
Okay. All right, because I can't keep you two all night as much as I'd like to, let's talk about this next beer, too.
Yeah.
And then I want to learn more about the brewery and when it might be open, and also what kind of playground you're building for me to come play in, because I'm sure it's not just a brewery in a tiny little tasting room. So I want to learn about that. But before our beer warms up too much, what's the next beer in our glass, Vinny?
Shadow of a Doubt.
Okay.
So this is an imperial porter. I'm a huge fan of porters.
Okay.
First beer we ever brewed at Russian River out at Corbel in 1997
was
our Russian River porter.
Really?
That was a delicious beer. I remember going up to Corbel to get it. And then we had it in 6-packs.
Yeah.
At More Beer.
Nice.
We used to buy it at
Yep.
More Beer.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, how is nobody buying this? Like, nobody knew about it.
That was back in the day when I was delivering, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was
That's
doing
the first
all
time I
the
met you was in
deliveries,
Corbell. You were like hosing down the floor, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to drink this more of this beer, dude. And in 6-packs. So,
and we have it on right now at the pub, and it has a really soft spot in my heart, the Russian River Porter.
I love that.
But
this is not just a porter,
but
though,
this is the Imperial Porter. It's
Okay.
9.5% alcohol. It's called Shadow of a Doubt. Why?
Well, for any film noir fans out there, Alfred Hitchcock was a big fan of filming on location, and he loved Sonoma County, and he filmed, of course, The Birds, and then another kind of lesser-known film called Shadow of a Doubt. I think it was 1943, and so he filmed a lot of it on location in Santa Rosa.
Nice.
And
Birds was done there too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and so the old train station that's right down in Railroad Square along the Smart Rail now was also in the film, along with the old Courthouse Square, which is where our brewery is located. And so because we love old films and we love porters and we love history, Vinnie always wanted to make a dark beer after this film called Shadow of a Doubt.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was Hitchcock's favorite movie he ever made.
Really?
And he said because it brought family and murder and mayhem together. And that was his line, paraphrase.
That sounds very Hitchcockian. You know what I mean?
And he loved it. Was his favorite. Like, if you Google Hitchcock's favorite movie, it'll bring up Shadow of a Doubt.
Well, now I got to watch it, too.
Yeah, it's a great
thriller.
movie. and the old house that the family is based around was just like a few blocks from the house that we just moved from. We used to live in pretty close to downtown.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's still there. And the bar that they show used to be a restaurant. I think it was Flavor. Was the
Till
bar?
2?
Yeah, and the bar was called Till 2. Like, what a great name for a bar!
Yes.
Till 2.
It is good.
So
that's a perfect name. Just we're going till 2.
No, but where are you going? Till 2. Well, how are you going to be there? Till 2.
That's really good.
So, Vinny, how do you make a good porter? What are the elements of a good porter?
So,
yeast.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Now, I say the difference between a porter and a stout is roasted barley. A porter is more chocolate malt. You can use debittered, like the Wireman Carafa 3 is a great malt that has the husk removed. So
what's the point of that?
It's so the husk is what carries a lot of the astringency in dark malt when they roast it. So if you do a dehusked malt, the Belgians do it as well. You end up with a really soft quality. So this is chocolate malt, but also a good amount of Wireman Carafa 3 dehusked malt.
Okay.
And you can get that as a homebrewer.
Yeah.
Can't you? Pretty easily. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure.
And then there's a good amount of Special B in it, which carries over from the Russian River IPA.
Yeah.
And then our secret ingredient. No one's listening, right?
Nope.
So.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. Nobody's writing this down.
Just us.
I'm barely listening, so I'm hanging on there.
Yep.
It's a small 70,000.
Is honey malt.
Honey malt.
Oh, yeah.
What percent?
Wow, that is pretty old school.
Percent. We make the beer once a year. I don't remember.
You don't.
Ish.
No, I don't know. Probably 5%. Not
He's
a lot.
full of shit, by the way. He knows exactly what it is.
I was going to say 7.
He's in the brewery every day. He knows exactly what it is.
I was
what percent is Special B?
I was in Belgium once, and it was that trip with Sam and Rob and
Sounds
Adam.
like a trip to die for.
And
or to die during.
And or after. And so we were with an Italian beer writer, Kowalska. His name is Lorenzo de Bova, and
of course it is.
And he
did this a lot with his hand. He shook his hand a lot.
Yeah. He said that if you ask a Belgian brewer, do you use spices? They'll say no. But if you rephrase the question, it's like, what percentage of coriander do you use in your beer? They'll be like, oh, well, it's blah, 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 blah.
Interesting.
So it's all how you ask the question.
That makes sense. Well, and I just want to put a fine point on the Special B2. And again, I'm going to have to use my memory here, which apparently is fading.
No, plug you in, dude.
I thought it was tasty, and maybe some other here's talking about on the show, talking about being careful with Special B, that it could end up with some too much sweetness, a little bit cloying. Am I hearing that? Am I remembering that right about that particular
well,
malt?
Big statement is raising character.
Yeah. And if you taste this, it has a little bit of a raisin character.
Yeah.
Which is what
It's not excessive.
It's because it's just a little bit. It's probably like 2 or 3%.
Okay.
So, but the unique thing about Special B is like it's roasted twice. I mean, think about the Belgians. They fry their fries twice. So why wouldn't they roast the malt twice?
Good. You know what? You're right.
I like that.
Okay.
So does Special B go into some of the darker Belgian beers?
So Special B for us goes into Salvation, which is our Belgian dark strong.
Okay.
Goes into Consecration.
Right.
Dark ale, barrel aged sour, and then our 2 porters.
So, but over in Belgium, like, would it go into like a double or like
Good
a quad?
question. Yeah, it would go into some of the darker.
So hence
Belgian
the kind
beers.
of more raisiny characteristics that you would get from some of those
Okay,
beers.
so some of those things that you actually want is what I was saying people might be worried about.
But you're right. Whoever said it, you originally tastier.
It sounds like a Doc thing. Or actually, it sounds like a John Plissé thing.
I
Like,
just
the way
remember,
back.
and maybe just a little bit, because if you do use too much, you know it. When you,
No,
when
it
you know,
overrides the beer.
yeah.
Goddamn Bastion has that character.
Yeah, maybe it was even in discussion of that. I just remember at some point people saying just avoid Special B because you can get in trouble. But in all of these
Yeah, you
beers
don't
that I
wanna do
really
that.
like, people are putting Special
That's
B
like,
in.
that's
so.
like saying saffron. Like
Yeah.
if you use too much, saffron's not.
It's
gonna,
awful, yeah.
And just a little bit
Okay.
is really nice. I love Special B.
Okay.
And
What kind of yeast in this beer? Are you like Cal Ale almost across the
California
board?
ale
Yeah.
used for anything non-Belgium other than our STS pills.
Okay.
Which is what I started with
Here tonight. Yeah.
Yep. Which was going to be a full-time beer when we
Oh,
open
great!
up the brewery.
That's cool.
Bottles and kegs.
Because you'll
I'm
have space
excited.
to be able to lager and okay.
A couple of open-top fermenters.
Okay. Oh, really? Why open top for lagers?
You know, a lot of brewers and people that know a lot about beer will tell you that it's only open tops for ales.
Yeah.
But I think that a really good lager can be open top fermented, or you can improve your lager even more so, because you're already taking a beer that's super delicate. And now you add like no static pressure because there's no lid on the top. You're giving it a wide surface area. You're giving yourself the ability to skim all those little particulates and whatnot off the foam. So these tanks that we're buying, we have 6 open top fermenters coming from Gresser, and they're all 1-to-1 ratio, so they're as wide as they are tall.
Yeah.
They do still have cones on the bottom if we want to pull yeast. The bottom of these 6 tanks are all in one cellar, and then the tops are in each of their own room, so 2 per room. And then then they've got yeast collectors next to it with a hole cut out in the side of each of the open tops
For when you skim?
with a little
top crop.
Yep, that you can top crop. So you're in there skimming, or it happens automatically. If it's filled to the right level.
Yeah,
and we've
overflows in.
Yeah, exactly. It overflows down this little chute slide, if you will.
Yeah,
and then it goes into a small yeast collector, which is also chilled. That's hanging and suspended from the floor, and then from there we can either pitch to another tank or go to a yeast brink.
Is that a custom deal, or was that in existence and you said, I want that?
Amazon Prime.
No, I mean, like, it was another brewery doing this?
Doesn't Anchor do something like that? I think
not with the ability to just auto top crop.
I thought
there's only 2 other. So the company's Gresser. I'll let Natalie talk about Gresser. They're an amazing family tank builder.
Yeah, they're fourth generation. Sandra Gresser is now running the company. She's taking it over from her dad, Christian, and they specialize in open top fermentation vessels. From what I understand, we're only the 3rd brewery in America to have these tanks made.
You guys want to guess who are the other 2?
Oh, God, you're stumping me. I'm supposed to ask the questions. Who's a great Firestone Walker?
No.
Really?
No.
Because they're getting into lagers
He
now.
only dreams of it. He's a hack. He's a hack.
August Shell.
I was going to say Yingling, but no.
All right, we'll just tell you.
Yeah.
So New Glarus.
New Glarus, that's what I meant.
New Glarus and Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada. That was the other one I meant.
I actually was going to say Sierra, but I was like, are they going to do enough
Ken
of that?
has the exact same type that we're getting in.
Okay.
Which has
Same size, though? I thought his were smaller.
His are actually probably a little bigger because they're double batch.
Oh, right.
But we have 6, and Ken only has 2.
Oh, look at you.
So they're
All
one
right.
up and
That's the only time we can one-up him.
Well, he has a jet, and he gives you the middle finger every time he flies over Santa Rosa on his way to...
There's that.
Can we dump our toilet, please, in the air?
But this design with the chute to capture, it was something they presented to you, and you said, I got to have that? Or did you help develop this, I guess, because I never heard anything like it.
No, we didn't help develop it.
Okay, all right.
No,
you know what? I actually had an open-top fermenter at Blind Pig in my first brewery in Southern California.
Yeah.
It was open.
You couldn't afford a lid. Huh?
It was open to the. That's actually probably true.
Right. Get out the saran wrap.
It was open to the brewery.
Okay.
And we made. Ironically, I fermented a porter in it.
Oh.
And it was called, even more ironically, Santa Rosa Plateau Porter. And there is a nature preserve north of Temecula, where the brewery was. And
that
it was the Santa
name.
Rosa Plateau.
Okay.
And so, anyway.
Did you know you'd never end up in Santa Rosa at that point?
No.
Wow.
No. And a friend of ours was a docent or volunteer up there.
Okay.
So anyways, we that was it. But anyways, I open top fermented there, and I always love open top fermenters. I love tank geometry, the ratio. Most fermenters are a ratio of 1 wide to 2.5 or 3 times tall.
Yeah.
And when you change that to a 1-to-1 ratio, it changes everything, all the character of the beer.
The way the yeast moves around, the pressures. And all.
They say that DuPont Saison will only work in an open top fermenter.
Really?
And that's why that yeast is supposed to be fermented at like 90 degrees or something.
Wow.
And anyways, we're going to test that out. I'll let you know.
Okay.
But I think like you can take a delicate beer like a Pilsner or a Helles and make it even better. We went to this brewery called Berg in Germany. It's somewhere in the middle of the country. I don't remember the specific town, but they ferment. I think all of their Helles in an open top.
Okay.
And it is like one of the best beers. And the best, for me, my favorite German beer is Schönrammer. It's down
I haven't had
on
that.
the border of the Austrian border in Germany.
Okay.
And Eric Toft is an American who's been brewing in Germany for 20 years now. And that was the trip when we were there, and we came home, and I said to Natalie, "We're making a true Pilsner."
Okay,
that's what did it.
That was
for
a birth
me.
of STS.
And every beer that's brewed at Schönram is open top, and Eric Toft is amazing.
We spent like all day there. It was like we couldn't get him to leave. He was like
fascinated
in his happy place.
Yeah. Is that why you fell in love with Vinnie? Because he came to you one day and was like, "Listen, I really love tank geometry." And you were like
open top and top cropping.
Yeah, and you were like, Vinnie, don't stop.
Exactly.
You had me at geometry.
What if I was a triple decocted Belgian triple? What ratio would tank would I be in, Vinnie?
That was it.
Tell me.
That was what did it. I actually think
because it's
just
working
got
for
lucky.
me. I mean, I'm just saying.
Now that we're into this, I want to talk about the planning of the brewery and what we can expect.
Yeah, what other kind of unique things are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've spent some time through your travels, like figuring out what kind of fermenters, and obviously not just a bunch of tanks that you lined up outside like another giant production facility. So tell me about some cool things, and I also want to know about like from a guest perspective,
what's the experience going to be?
Because I'm sure you're building me like a playground that I can come hang out at.
Yes, we are.
You know.
So the new brewery is it's going to be about 85,000 square feet.
Jesus.
Footprint, but it's a one-stop shop. Yeah, Jesus,
wow.
That's what we say every day.
Yeah. You should tell them the story about us walking around after the
get a bicycle,
golf cart.
In December, we bought our brew house and all of our most of our tanks from Siemens in Germany.
Okay.
Upon recommendation from some very well-respected brewers in our country, and
can you give me like a quick synopsis on that? Is the recommendation because they last longer?
Because they're the best.
Okay.
So like
their fermenters are
they're
the
the
best.
best. So
like everything you see at Sierra Nevada.
Yeah,
Sierra Nevada, Ballast Point, so our friend Yusuf, New Belgium, Firestone. They're all
okay.
Allagash, buying.
So
those are all
quality wise, they're rock
how
solid.
they're cooled, everything about it is good.
Best of the best.
Okay.
And so we decided to go with Siemens for both the brew house as well as the fermenters. And what's funny is that if we didn't buy the brew house, I'm pretty sure they would have said, "I'm sorry, but all of your fermenters and bright beers are far too small for us to be able to handle," because they make giant tanks for Mexican breweries and
Pilsner Kel.
Yeah, giant tanks for really, really big breweries that nobody's even ever heard of.
Our tanks they're making for us are like yeast brinks for these other breweries.
Really? Exactly.
These are our fermenters.
And these are big.
These are the smallest they make, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
And these are 200 barrels?
They don't even make these. They just made them for us.
Oh, I see.
Our
Okay,
smallest
wow.
is a single batch, so it's going to net like 60 or 70 barrels.
67. But I mean,
okay,
perfect. Single
Which is
batch.
really, really small for them. So we were able to kind of do this bundle deal, and we got all of our fermentation and bright beer tanks as well as the brew house from them. And so in December, the brew house arrived. It was actually pretty fun. It was pretty close to my birthday when the ship came under the Golden Gate. I don't know if you saw my post.
I did see your post. Yeah,
super dorky. So there's this
I
app.
thought I used that same app you used. I get to see it.
So there's this app called Marine Traffic, and so you can watch your ship come.
Wow.
So we
The Silva.
currently have a ship,
Good.
the Star Lisa Fjord,
No, I
off the
watched it.
coast of
Seriously.
Mexico, making its way up the west coast with the rest of our equipment.
And we've got
on
the
it.
Venice. We got the Venice Bridge coming in too.
That's coming in with a little bit of stuff on it, and the so I went down. I was watching it, and so I went down the day it looked like it was going to come in to the Marin Headlands.
Yeah.
And I sat there for 3 hours taking
God.
pictures of tourists and
Yeah.
just like talking on the phone and blah 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 whatever. And
Hoping
then
the
finally,
fog.
and I'm watching this ship like it's so far away, and it's just like watching a pot of water boil. And if you don't look away,
Yeah.
it never moves.
Might be going the other direction.
You had to find something else to do.
It took
Be backing up.
forever. It took so long. And so I watched this ship coming along the horizon for like 3 hours. And then finally, it took a turn towards the Golden Gate Bridge. And all of a sudden, I realized it was hauling ass.
No.
And I'm out there with my nice camera, and I'm like snapping pictures, because I'm waiting for the money shot. It's a beautiful day. And the money
Yeah.
shot, of course, is going under the Golden Gate. Of course, 2 tourists come up to me. Like,
Hi.
excuse me, could you take our picture? I'm all, not now!
Oh my God. Yeah, they're
I'm
like, wow.
clearly
2
busy.
minutes.
She's really into
And
her
she'd
Golden
been,
Gate
she'd been
Bridge.
taking pictures all day of
No.
people.
Tourists,
Could
yeah.
you imagine someone's like, why the hell is she taking a picture of a ship going like?
Yeah,
she's crazy.
She's a nut job. This
Yeah.
I'm
one.
doing a calendar, 365 days of ships. Here we
So
go.
I got the money shot. I got some really beautiful pictures of the ship going under the Golden Gate. I mean,
Nice.
you don't know our brew house is on it. We just
That's
knew
what
it.
Matt Brennelson
Yeah.
said. So John Mallett from Bell's,
Yeah.
Matt Brennelson,
Yeah.
Firestone.
Yeah.
You don't have to say from Firestone on this show. It's
I don't
Matt.
think
you
so,
just say
yeah.
Matt.
Yeah.
Anyways, the three of us always like bounce around pictures of what we call brewer porn.
Okay,
It's like
yeah.
whenever we're putting cool tanks into our breweries. And I sent a picture of that to Matt, and Matt goes, "How do I know your brew house is on that?" I'm like,
Yeah, he's calling you on that shit. I'm gonna
No,
see.
our TV is on that. We
Matt and
got a
I
20-inch.
think alike. When I saw you, because I saw your post, I was like, I don't know. Does she really know it's on that damn boat? I'm a skeptic.
It was. It
Okay.
was. And the reason I know is that because it ended up showing up in Windsor
Cool.
the next week. So I was pretty sure it was the right ship.
Yeah.
So the brew house shows up, and what was really kind of cool was the brew house was arriving at the same moment. Literally the same moment the first wall panel went up.
Oh.
And so the first truck was pulling in with one of the vessels while a wall was being erected.
Yeah.
And so it was just like this
Now we're getting
moment
somewhere.
of like, just, I don't know where to be. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to look right now. And it was just such an exciting day.
That's
and
cool.
just running around crazy. And then over the course of the next, 2 or 3 days, all of the vessels were dropped because we have a basement for the brew house, and so all the legs are down in the basement, so
I
that
see.
when you drive in, it's all the top of the vessels are at ground level.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
it only cost us like several $1 million.
No, it
To
was-
get everything sunk in.
It was really stupid, but
Like, what
it's beautiful.
I'm being serious. What is it, like 3 stories below ground they have
It's
to
about
dig?
15 feet.
15 feet, 18
Okay.
including
Almost
the
2 stories.
Yeah.
sump, I
okay.
think.
Yeah, 18 if you count the 3-foot sub
Above.
floor, the concrete.
The footing.
Yeah, it's like, do they need to make it that thick? There's like 4 million pounds of concrete in just that section of the building, and another like 250,000 pounds of steel.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Some stupid
I'm going to tell you how I know, without even knowing what this number was. We put in a stupid indoor-outdoor fireplace at our Hop Grenade in Fort Collins.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's not stupid. It's stupid when I got the bill.
It can be both, dude.
It's true. You're
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
I'm beautiful and stupid.
But because my partners wanted like real rock face all over the fucking thing, and it looks amazing, by the way. You should go see it.
No.
They had to do all this footing, to hold the.
Yeah.
My fucking fireplace cost me $30,000 or some ridiculous thing. So
I'm not surprised.
Right. So whatever you guys are talking about here, I'm like my little fireplace. It's this big.
Yeah. But
We're trying to put a fireplace in. It's actually Natalie's part of the brewery. She's trying to put a fireplace in our pub.
It's probably going to cost that much.
It's going to cost that much.
It's crazy.
But if your fireplace in Colorado was actually located in California, there would have to be some sort of structural engineering and earthquake retrofitting and this whole old ordeal, and it would have been a $45,000.
Okay, good point. Yeah. So I'm just saying, yes, I understand. And those of you who have
quit
big
your
dreams,
pity, blah blah blah.
Oh my God.
Put that thing in your bar here.
Yeah, we need another one here. Now, tell me what about the restaurant and tasting room situation? Because my understanding was that one thing you were excited about is that maybe the locals can have their pub back downtown, so that the rest of us can go to this destination.
Well, I think that was kind of one of the major driving forces, was that the pub was just so busy that, we would run into customers that we haven't seen in a long time, and we'd say, gosh, we haven't seen you in a long time. And they'd say, well, I can't get in anymore, so I don't go there anymore. And I think for me and Vinnie, that just really started to resonate with us. And that they used to love coming to the pub, but I think that Yogi Berra had a famous thing like, I used to go there, but
too busy.
It's too busy. So we really, aside from, some other personal things that we wanted to, make a little more beer, make better beer, but more importantly, give more access to customers.
It's your community.
Customers.
Those are your friends.
The locals are just as important, if not, more so than the tourists, who come from all over the world.
And, you know them by name. A lot of them.
We do, and so we just thought, if we build a new brewery, it will help relieve some pressure from downtown, and we're really hoping to give the downtown pub back to the locals, but also have it be really, really different from the Windsor Brewery.
Okay,
so that the menu's totally different. So our pizza downtown is great. It's excellent, even if you like pizza.
I agree.
But we're not doing pizza in Windsor. We're going to have more of a high-end, comfort food pub menu. So we'll have a really good burger from the meat, from the farmer to whom we give our spent grains, and then we'll have, double fried fries and really nice
go with
salads.
Our special beef malt.
Exactly. So it's going to be a totally different menu at the new pub. We're going to offer self-guided tours as well as reservation guided tours.
Nice.
So that's been an incredible part of the whole design and cost of this project. We'll also have a gift shop that's not a tiny little afterthought in our pub. So people can come in very easily and get bottles and whatever they want to go.
You guys just quickly have done great with your tiny little afterthought.
Thank
you. In fact, Natalie, I try. We have even less space here. But whenever I'm thinking about retail branding, I actually think about what you've done at that
we
pub.
took, at a very difficult time, a very busy time, we took 16 seats out to put in a gift shop. And it was probably the smartest thing we've ever done. Because so many of our customers want to go. They want bottles and growlers and T-shirts and hats and stuff to go, which has ended up being a pretty large part of our business. And it's a lot easier for the customer as well, because not everybody wants to hang out, and stand in line at the bar to get some growlers to go. So
just come in and get it.
It's definitely been an improvement on the customer service.
And you two have advised for years that brewers pay attention to their retail side like that it can really make a difference. And so, whenever I was thinking about stuff here or the other place, I always look at what you've done, because it's a small space, but you put it first in the sense of make sure our customers have access to this.
Yeah, and we listen to our customers, and they're complaining about not being able to get a growler, or complaining about this and that, and so we're trying to take everything that we've heard over the years and do our best to accommodate that at the new brewery. For example, we're offering tours.
Right.
Probably one of the top 3 biggest requests is when we have nowhere safe to take anybody in either brewery now.
I can't wait to give the tour, though.
I've given a few tours.
The tour,
but you're different.
Tasty walking into our brewery. He's like the mayor of Russian River Brewery.
Right,
He's got
I know.
a key. who just walked in. Everybody knows him.
Yeah.
Like somehow even our new employees even know who Tasty is.
It's funny. I'll poke my head in the back door, and they're like, "Who the fuck are you? We're closed." And Tasty, I built Tasty, and he can walk in there like he owns the place.
He made me the man I am.
Built him. I was gonna say though, the cool thing about our guided tour at the new brewery is it's like a full-on sensory experience.
Yeah,
you're gonna walk in. There's tasting bars along the way.
What?
And
wow.
And then you're gonna like be on the brew deck. You're going to taste malt and smell hops. You're going to look right into the lab. You can go up the spiral staircase and then look down onto the brew house.
Wow.
You walk around. You're going to be next to the open-top fermenters, and you'll smell the fermentation happening. And then you're going to go into the next room, and it's going to be the bubbling of the cylindrical conical tanks bubbling away. In the next room, you're going to the packaging hall, and it's going to be
the clinking of the bottles,
the clink of the bottles, and there's a tasting bar there, so you're going to be able to taste like the freshest Pliny ever.
Wow!
And then you're going to end up in the funky brewery and taste whatever sour beer of the day is.
That's so
and so
cool.
like we want the tour to be totally. I keep telling. Whether it's contractors on the job site or just guests and friends at the pub, like we want you to experience Russian River like we experience it every day. Like
That's a perfect model.
That's a great goal.
Yeah.
So we had a meeting with Dell and Peter, who are part of our brain trust on the construction side, on Friday in Natalie's office at Ferdinand Court, and we had cans of Slovenia beer from Slovenia.
Okay.
Hoppy beer from a hop grower that makes beer. And then we were drinking rum Mexico as well. And we walked out as we were done, and I said, "Hear that?" And it was the bubbling of a fermenter. I said, "That's what we want when we walk into this
part of the experience.
I want that a part of the experience."
That's very cool.
Anyways.
How many square feet? If just because I'm curious, what can people expect? Because right now, we kind of wait in line to get into the pub.
85,000.
Well,
no, not of the
pub.
tasting room. For God's sake, that. Now, if you told me that, I'd be like, "Jesus,
no,
Vinnie."
that's too big.
The pub is going to seat about 180 people, but we also have a very large outdoor area.
Okay.
And we'll have a cool patio that's going to have what's called a nanowall system. So there'll be like accordion glass doors and windows that will open. And that space will be kind of its own space that's sectioned off from the pub. So we would be able to allow pets out there.
Cool.
There'll be a bar that people can walk up to when they're out in the kind of the garden area. We'll have like terraced, gardens and landscaping and some stuff where people can, get a beer and go walk around out there, where we'll allow pets on leashes and
nice
and stuff. We'll have tons of bicycle parking as well as motorcycle parking, because we do like two wheels.
Yes.
And cycling is really, really popular, as well as motorcycling. In the Northern California North Bay area in particular.
For sure.
It will have about 2 acres of free parking, which is very, very important to our customers.
So we were driving in today. Never been in downtown Concord.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, very charming.
First off, free parking.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But are there a lot of old people that live here?
And homeless.
Because the signs are like
they're giant.
500.
No.
There's a new thing they put in place.
There's a retirement home like right there, right next to the one of the parking garages.
For those of us that are getting old,
They had like 4-inch letters
right?
on those things. Yeah.
Most towns, when you're like driving around, like, where's the sale?
If I know, so
I think
all
it
of
shouts at you if you have a listening disabled thing. It says, Salvio Street.
All of this is true about our signs, but I don't think that was the reason Concord did it. I think Concord's a great city, by the way, and a great city to do business in.
It's a charming little downtown.
Yeah.
Just like Windsor. A great town to do business in.
Well, there you go. The city's just cool. But I think their marketing team sometimes is a little fucking weird, and I guarantee you that the size of those signs was a total accident. They hit the button wrong on the submit, when they ordered from e-signs or whatever.
I was like, dude, that is too... And I think...
But it does have a great side benefit.
I think the lettering is maybe the same, but the font's wider and the sign is bigger, and so everything just looks bigger.
Yeah. Sign size is bigger.
Magnified, the whole sign.
But as my listeners know, my eyes are going fast. Like I didn't wear glasses in our first interview, Vinnie.
Either did I.
Right? But here we are. And so I'm appreciating the signs, too. I just think it was an accident.
That was not a knock on Concord.
Yeah.
That was actually a pat on the back.
No, I can always turn a pat on the back into a knock. That's my fault.
We were very appreciative of, as we've gotten older and eyesight has gone.
Yeah.
Come to Concord.
You can see wetter here. Come to Concord. Know where you're going.
Here's where we're at. It's like 8:30.
Yeah.
I know you guys got to go. So we can do this. I can wrap it up right now. We can take a quick break and then do listener questions when we come back.
I think we should do that.
Can you handle that?
And finish. Is STS still on?
Yeah.
Because we ran out of Happy Hops.
Let me double check.
We were going to do Happy Hops.
Did Mike have the last one?
And Blind Pig ran out of that.
Mike had the last one.
How's STS looking there?
Hang on, STS. We're good. We're good on STS.
I think we
can
should finish with STS.
I'm happy to do that.
I love STS.
Okay. Then, quick before the break, when are you guys, because we've been talking so much about the construction, when are you thinking we might open? Get
fall.
to see you?
I think it's safe to say at this point we'll be open by October, November.
That's your original target dates. You guys are on schedule.
That's because we've been, we had no vision of that this was going to be on time.
You didn't?
So we gave you a date that was so far out.
Oh, I see. So you doubled whatever you thought. You guys are kind of hardcore. The two of you come across as really laid back about it.
No, they're business.
But I have a feeling that you two are pretty
pretty intense.
I wouldn't want to work for you, is what I'm getting at. I feel like you guys are intense.
I don't know about that.
I know people who work for them.
Forever.
Wait.
Forever.
Let me say it a different way. I don't know that I'd want to be your contractor. That kind of.
That's fair.
I think your employees are stoked. You guys run a great company. I wouldn't want to be your contractor.
That's probably true.
That's a fair statement right now.
Are you saying because your personality doesn't work with their work ethic?
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm the same as them in what I want.
Right.
But I'm a big sissy about asking for it.
Yeah.
So when I come across as laid back, I'm actually just laid back.
Right.
But internally, I'm like, guys, I asked for it this way. I thought we were going to get this done. I spelled this out for you, and it's still. But then when it comes to it, I'm like, all right, well, things happen. We'll just figure it out.
I'm just the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm like, should I have said that?
Yeah.
I tend
So
to.
you say it first and then ask second.
Yeah.
See, I asked.
But I've learned with email, don't hit send.
That I have learned too.
You mean reread?
Yeah, and save it till the next day.
Oh, save it.
But, you're sitting in a meeting and I'm like,
yeah.
I probably shouldn't have said that.
The one time I will do it is in email, and I did learn years ago, always wait the 12 hour till the next morning.
There's a reason why Bill Gates created draft.
Yeah.
All the whoever did.
But in construction, it's important to be clear and then hold people accountable. And I'm just guessing you two are kind of good at that.
Well, especially when there's a high dollar amount,
Exactly.
not like, I don't know, coloring a thing, whatever it is, right? A graphic design, that's easy change. But if you build a wall 2 inches short,
Which happens.
I've had it
There's
happen.
There's an opening in the brewery somewhere that's about 6 inches too high for a door. So
Yes,
it's
true
either
story.
it's either going to be a really high step or it's going to get cut, and it's going to get cut.
And ADA won't allow the high step, so we're cutting it. Right?
Yeah, I got better at it on my second project. I had come in and they built a wall they weren't supposed to build, and I had my project manager who worked for the construction company, and the guy on site who's supposed to control that work for the construction company. And I knew what I had asked for. And the guy on site was like, you were a little vague about that, so we built the wall. And it's the one time that I was like, bullshit. I was vague about nothing. I told you exactly. But afterward, I was like, oh, I feel relieved. Because the project manager's like, hey, kid asked for what he asked for, and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's why you should do everything by email.
Yeah, in writing. Get it in writing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have a whole system, getting it in writing. It's all documented.
If you have a verbal communication, then you go back and you go, hey, just to reiterate what we talked about.
Yeah, we don't even do that. Actually,
Oh, yeah?
It's just writing.
It's all email.
I mean, we speak, and then the final question of the conversation is who will memorialize this.
Sometimes we're in
the
a meeting,
form of an ASI or an RFI.
We don't even talk. We email.
Right. Yeah,
just quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing is firm until it's memorialized.
It's on Got it. That makes sense.
I didn't know the word memorialize until this project.
So you had millions on the line?
Yeah. Until Natalie was like, listen, if you don't learn memorialize, we're going to be having your fucking memorial, Vinnie.
Right.
Everything in writing.
How did you know?
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more with Natalie and Vinnie. I'll take your questions. I see a few in my email. You can call in 888-401-BEER, and we're going to taste a little more beer while we're at it, too. Hang in there. It's The Session. We'll be right back.
listening to the Brewcasters.
Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Check out their brand new patent-pending mash and boil 110-volt electric mashing and boiling unit. This compact all-stainless unit lets you mash, sparge, and boil just about anywhere that has a 110-volt plug. Double-wall construction adds to efficiency and safety, and a precise thermostat keeps temperatures where you want them. Unlike insulated buckets and converted coolers, multiple temperature rest mashing is easy to do, all for under $300. They also feature the Mark II work pump, a magnetic drive high-temperature pump that does the work of pumps that cost twice as much, as well as exclusive Brewer's Edge regulators and quality Keg King kegs and disconnects. Check them out today at williamsbrewing.com to brews their vast selection. With over 20 years of experience making world-class craft beer and more than 100 gold medals in international competitions, Moylan's Brewing Company is not just a pretty face in craft beer. Just ask Brendan Moylan.
What do we got here? The beer of the hour. Moylan's, gotta love that big M. It's like a sign of awesomeness. Woo-hoo! It's got an extra kick to it. Let's pour this bad boy. Oh, yeah. Oh, Moylan's. The end of the night when the kids are finally in bed, the wife's in bed, nobody's bothering your ass anymore. That's Moylan's time. Moylan's is for you. Yeah. It's to help you out. Yeah. It helps me out.
What?
Well, because it's freaking awesome. Northern California brewed. It's brewed with love.
With love?
Oh, yeah. Tremendous. And it's always best where?
Moylan's.
You gotta try it. On tap at Moylan's in Novato. They're friggin' awesome. Not only because I own the brewery, because I love the beer.
Cheers!
Boom.
Kilt Lifter Scotch Ale takes big beers to a whole new level with rich malt balanced perfectly with delicate hops, and now comes in 4-pack tall boy cans so you can take the party on the go. Or come to the brewery, take a tour, and try any of Moylan's fresh creations right from the source. Check them out at moylans.com.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zainashev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
If you work in retail sales, the restaurant industry, or are a new craft beer enthusiast, or you know someone who is, you have got to check out Beer 101. Beer 101 is an online course created for anyone wanting a quick introduction to the vast world of craft beer. Beer 101 covers the history of beer, brewing ingredients and processes, vital stats like ABV, SRM, IBU, and gravity, styles, tasting, glassware, and pairing beer with food. The Beer 101 course is offered by the Brewers Association at craftbeer.com, also home to the truly awesome Beer Style Finder, a visual guide to every beer style. Quickly play with color, bitterness, and alcohol content to interactively explore the entire world of beer styles with a gorgeously designed interface to your favorite beverage. The new Beer 101 course and new Beer Style Finder are only available at craftbeer.com. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer. The
Brewcasters are back. And it ain't 401 beer.
Whatever.
All right. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you want to make great beer like Vinnie and Natalie Cilurzo, make sure you download the Beersmith brewing software. Go to beersmith.com and check it out. It'll help you manage your ingredients and your recipes. You can act like a professional, and you get a free 21-day trial.
And I was told, I'm spacing on the name of the owner of Beersmith. He's going to kill me.
Brad Smith?
Brad. He said, I saw you once, and you said that there's no brewing software that takes into account utilization at 0 minutes, but Beersmith does.
He does, yes.
And he was like, totally, and I was like, okay, cool, I stand corrected.
Yeah,
You're right.
Oh, the guy builds things into it that you don't even know you
But that
need.
was something that Matt Brentelson and I always were like pissing and moaning about homebrew software, is that you don't take into account that you can actually get like 40 or 50 BUs from a 0 minute addition.
Well,
and Brad was like,
I did that.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, I stand corrected. Beersmith.
Well, he's also got the pH of the grain, which I like.
Yeah.
He has a bit of everything. If you want to try it for yourself, it's a free 21-day trial, so you don't even have to take Brad's word for it. You can go check it out. It works on a PC and a Mac. Just get your free 21-day trial over at beersmith.com, and then if it doesn't do what Brad says it does, then you're out with nothing. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like supporting the BN. You can send us $2, and you might get something out of it. You might not.
Well, you definitely get something out of it. Will you like it? That's
right.
the question.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, so we just have a couple things left to do with these guys. I want to finish my porter.
We're drinking Janet's Brown Ale right here.
Me and Vinnie are.
Did you bring
want
this?
some? No.
Yeah. Do we have a free glass here?
We haven't. I feel bad. I'm sitting next to a homebrew hero, and we haven't brewed Janet's Brown.
We're just going to have
decades.
that.
Are you going to brew it at the new facility?
Now we're talking about it.
Well, not the new facility, at the pub, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
That should be brew pub only, huh?
Yeah.
We should try it in an open top.
We're going to brew more often at the pub. Remember?
What do you think about that?
You want to try it in an
Janet's
open
Brown
top?
in an open top? All right. Never mind about it only
What am I
being
gonna
at
say,
the
no?
pub. We're making Janet's Brown
Gonna
in
go
the
big
open
in
top.
bottles.
Okay.
And you want to do whole cone only?
Oh, that'd be great.
We can do whole cone only at the new brewery.
Wow.
The coolest
you mash up in the new brewery?
Yeah, we can do anything we want in the new brewery. The coolest thing about the
It's our brewery.
I hope so.
coolest thing about the new brew house is the hopback, and this was one of the things that sold me on the Zeman hopback, or the Zeman brew house with the hopback, is that we've got this hopback, so we can go kettle, hopback kettle, meaning that we can do a whole cone brew all the way while not actually having to add the cones to the kettle, so it makes it easier to unload.
Oh, yeah.
We can also go kettle, hopback, whirlpool.
Okay.
Or we could go whirlpool, hopback, work cooler to the fermenter, which is how we'll mostly use it, to get like a quick blast of hops.
Yeah.
You can pretty much put it in any combination, and there's piping that's all plumbed in the basement of the brew house, and that is what sold me. And they already had this thing designed, and there's a version of it at Carbach in Texas, in Houston, and so we added a few little things that would make it Russian River, and that was it. And they were so open to doing it and so exciting.
And this means you basically just run wort through this hopback and then to whatever destination you want it to go back to.
Which could go back or on
its
the
own
way.
vessel or to the next vessel.
Yeah, which is really cool. So it allows us, so we could make whole cone Janet's Brown Ale.
Wow. How big is a hopback?
That's when we'll change the hops.
Right. So how many gallons of wort are in this thing at any given time?
It could be a couple 100 pounds of hops.
Okay.
So on certain brews, we would maybe need to quickly dump the hops and then recharge it if we want. It has all kinds of options.
That's a couple 100 pounds
really
of hops
cool.
is a lot.
It's a bale.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a large hopback.
It's our couch at our house, as I said earlier.
Now we're going to have no furniture.
It's the whole couch.
Great.
We're a little short.
But those are aged hops at our house.
Oh, okay.
Our house is cheesy.
Yeah.
Don't be silly, JP. They only put the aged hops in.
I'm so
do you
dumb.
remember our Janet's Brown Ale idea that we were going to have the Janet's Brown Ale brew off?
Yes.
And this originated on the Brewing Network, and all these homebrewers were going to brew their version, and then you and I think we're going to be the judge.
Yeah, which is
probably
a terrible
one or two
idea.
others.
But
No,
yeah.
actually not. And then they were going to put it up against Mike's Janet's Brown Ale. And so to some degree, Mike was a little nervous because what if someone makes a better Janet's Brown Ale?
Of course they will.
But the flip side is like...
What if they didn't?
Well, or just all these homebrewers are like, oh my God.
We get to do this.
I might be the guy.
No matter what. And then we were going to brew like whatever at. And I think our hiccup was that we already make Janet's Brown Ale on a commercial level, so you don't want to rebrew it.
Yeah.
But anyways, I
We
thought
were
it
going
was
to do
a
a
great
whole
idea.
homebrew competition based around this.
No,
Janet's Brown Ale.
No, it's going to be hard. It's going to be like cool but horrible at the same time.
But Tasty's fragile ego.
I think I was the one that spooked me. If I really wanted to do it, and Vinnie was all about it.
I'm still all about
I was putting in the brakes on, and he was.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing was logistics, but listen, with the new brewery and everything, because just even space to judge and where are we going to take all these homebrew
that's not a problem
entries,
anymore.
right? So now we can.
I think we were even talking about, if I remember right, and maybe the Australians, the drunk of the week, can remember this from years ago, that we were going to do like regionals, and it was going to get down to like 12 brews. And it was going to be us.
So like March Madness?
Yes, exactly.
And you know at the GABF how you're not allowed to judge your own category? I actually want Tasty to be on the judging to see if he can even pick his own beer.
This was the exception.
So I could have a buy.
This was the other problem is how into it we were getting with the brackets and everything else. And I was like, I don't know how we're going to do this, Vinny. This is gonna be
but this is before you had the hop grenade.
True.
You have people now.
No, I taste a lot of Janet's Brown Ales. I go to like the National Brewers Conference, and there'll be like 4 or 5 guys that have a Janet's Brown Ale being poured at club night.
Yeah.
And I go by and I swear, some are as good or better than mine, so I expect I would get beat.
Yeah.
Sure.
Could happen.
But I want to play that game.
But then you should be proud, you know.
you should be really proud
Teacher
of that.
becomes student, you know.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Isn't it Metallica, the slave becomes the master?
Yeah, they're a little more hardcore about it.
No, I'm more about blaming judges.
See? Intense.
Yeah, very intense. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we used to play. We used to play rock and roll to our barrel aged beers.
Did you? To get them to do what they do.
Yeah.
Tasty, did I hear you're going to make Janet's Brown for Springfest or something?
Yes, Jen will be pouring it Springfest. It's all good to go. It's ready to. It's ready.
You're back. You made it.
Right there.
Oh, this
That's
is it
right there.
Okay. No, it tastes like Janet's Brown. It's good. Okay.
I thought this was just some hack homebrewer. This
well,
is spectacular.
I've just made people think I'm a bigger deal. Yeah.
It's all marketing.
It's all
That's
marketing.
we haven't made Janet's at Russian River for a couple years.
Yeah.
This is a little softer and a little rounder.
This is a 6.6%. We make a 7.6 or 7.9 beer.
We make the brute
Imperial
version, the Imperial version.
When you asked me to do the collab, the pro-am with you.
Yeah.
That's the beer I just won with in the specialty beer category as an Imperial American Brown. My standard Janet's Brown is basically an IPA, but
brown.
With some color.
But brown.
Yeah.
And I remember also that first time we met, he poured me like this Pliny Light homebrew. It was spectacular.
Really?
And I think it was Pilsner malt and
14% Pilsner.
And then some, I don't know if it was Turo or some
Rar,
English
yeah.
malt. Yeah. It was incredible.
That was back
But it
when
was a
Tasty
lower alcohol.
homebrewed and brought
we did
beer
that at
into
the
the
first
show
Little
and we
Walker,
talked about it.
Invitation.
He doesn't do that anymore. He doesn't homebrew anymore.
I do joke
He
that
doesn't have to.
it's all marketing, but he backs up his marketing with great homebrew. Is what happens. That's why the marketing
Random
works.
success.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This is really good.
And he's a great homebrewer with great marketing.
Yes.
I mean, who
Yeah.
else has his own logo?
Exactly.
Well,
And it's cool.
He's the guy.
But it's cool.
I got a couple questions from the chat. Some that we've talked about before, some that we haven't. Here's a new one, Vinny. Mike wants me to
what's
ask...
your shoe size? I want to make
Vinny,
custom shoes for you.
Ask Vinny about the domain BritanniaMyces.com. He says 14 years and nothing there.
You own it.
And by the way, I am the king of domains that I never do anything with. I have so many. I've had Terrence the Black for 10 years.
No, you have not.
Yes, I just paid to renew it.
Smart.
One of our characters, Terrence the Black. I've never put anything on
and we
it.
were going to take photos of Terrence and post. It was like a Tumblr page of just photos of Terrence.
Do you have access to the internet, or should I Google? Does BritanniaMyces.com go to...
Let me look. I'll click it right
Sonoma
now.
Pride? It used to go to Sonoma Pride.
All it does is tell me my IP address. Is what happens right now when
So the Russians have it, is what you're saying.
I think it's...
But we're Russian River, so it's okay.
There you go.
See, the Russians have it.
Yeah.
See that?
So one of our employees, so we did the Sonoma Pride fundraiser for the fires, and one of our employees, Jacob, who's our lead brewer at the pub, he's an amazing brewer, and he put on this comedy event Joel McHale was supposed to show up.
Okay.
Joel fell ill, so his brother lives in Sonoma County and got up and did this great.
Funny enough, huh?
Like, oh my God,
Really?
and he's a priest, so he had his little schmuck on.
Really?
Wow.
And he was talking about the Russians, and he was like Russian River and the Russians,
Yeah.
and he was making these great jokes about like Trump and these like, and the Trumps was like, oh
Crowd
my God,
pleasers.
the Russians. And,
Yeah, and you guys meddling.
Yeah, the joke was that, we invited Trump to the show, to the comedy show, but he said, no, because I heard the Russians are going to be there. And he said, no, it's Russian River. It's a brewery.
Yeah.
It was great.
But yeah, I bought Britannomyces.com like over a decade ago. We bought it, and it was like, what winery is going to buy Britannomyces.com?
No,
true.
We're in the middle of wine country. Nobody's going to buy it. And it was available. And for a while, Sonoma Pride, which was originally two Brett finished beers, and then we repurposed the brand for our fundraiser for the fires. And so Sonoma Pride, at one point, did drive to Britannomyces did drive to Sonoma Pride, but I think we broke the link once.
The fundraiser.
Once the fundraiser happened, this probably was 10 years ago.
Right.
It probably was broken.
Well, maybe one of these days when you have nothing to do, you could still put something on.
At least put the site as under fermentation. Or something.
Perfect. Okay, and then here's one we probably covered, but it never hurts to ask again and get a little tip from Vinnie. But Chat Friend is his name. Wants to know if you have any favorite dry hopping techniques that you'd like to share.
It was really guessed.
Course,
495, but I thought Chat Friend was a better name.
Okay. Yeah. This is always a good question to ask Vinnie.
Dry hopping.
Yeah.
God, it's
just anything new that comes to your head. Maybe if you've changed anything in the last couple years.
I think new would be not doing it. I feel like
Is there one best method, or can you describe the best two?
What? This is not a new method. I'm just going to say that in this day and age of, and you can do the math, 3 to 5 pounds of dry hops per barrel, so a barrel being 31 gallons. And there's a lot more diacetyl in dry hop beers because there's enzymes and sugar in hops.
Okay.
And so if you dry hop, like a New England style IPA, we were going to try Happy Hops, but Tasty
drank
the last glass. So he literally had a glass here, and I said, we're going to taste that. And then you looked up, and it was like, there's like a spit left.
We were just kidding like we would share that.
Yeah.
And then everybody drank it out there.
And it ran out, which was cool because Happy Hops is our clear version of a New England style IPA. Like, I love the aroma of New England IPAs. I'm not a big fan of the huge yeast flavor and it makes you heavy. I have no problem with anyone drinking New England or brewing because I remember when we made our double IPA Blind Pig.
Yeah,
pretty freaking quality.
and the same things that people are saying now about New England style IPAs, like how can they put or do this or do that?
Yeah,
it's like this is the same things they said about me when I brewed.
Right.
Our inaugural ale and anniversary beer at Blind Pig.
So you remember all the bitching.
And it was like, you know what, though? The craft beer industry wouldn't be where it is without all this.
Right.
But
why do you say it's your version of a New England IPA, but clear? What attributes does it...
Because it's just got... Tasty said... It was before we went on, but Tasty sat down, and we were about... and I was
across the room,
I'm like, arm's length away. I was like... Do you have Happy Hops?
Got it.
We literally wanted
smell my beer.
We wanted to make a hazy. In fact, it's funny. You briefly mentioned, or I heard Sean O'Sullivan earlier mention whether it was on the air or out there with a guest, and Natalie made the comment online on our Facebook or whatever it was like, it's our clear hazy IPA.
Okay. Yeah.
And Sean was like, no shit, dumb shit.
He did make some smart ass remarks.
It's weird.
But it was funny.
Weird. And it was like
clear as the new
I
hazy.
just wanted to prove that you can make a beer that's as aromatic and hoppy.
Flavorful.
And again, flavor. I have no problem with hazy beers. We make a beer called Tempo Change. That's a hazy beer. We have a new all Centennial hazy beer that we're coming out with CFJ 90.
Nice.
And we kind of wanted to take a beer that and create it. And but the problem is when you add this much dry hops is that you're adding a ton of sugar from the hops, and there's enzymes in the hops that cause a secondary fermentation. And if you don't let your dry hop sit long enough, you pick up diacetyl, just like a regular fermentation. If you don't...
so you need a diacetyl rest.
You need a diacetyl rest for
after
your
the dry hop.
Yeah, you know you're adding...
I never would have thought of that.
You know you're adding too much hops if you need a diacetyl rest after your dry hop, which I think's cool.
Yeah,
It needs to rest twice.
I never would have thought about the sugar. Where's the sugar coming from?
It's in the hops.
It just is actually in
organic compounds.
And there's enzymes, and certain hops have more sugar than others.
Okay.
And this is really early on. And the great thing was, you ever had Jason Perkins on from Allagash? Yeah. He's a smart young man.
Great guy.
And he's one of my favorite people in the beer industry. And if there's in our fridge all the time is Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Equally in our fridge all the time is Allagash White of American beers. I love Allagash White.
Yeah.
And anyways, Jason calls me a couple years ago and he goes, have you ever gotten secondary fermentation after dry hop? I'm like, yeah, all the time. It's been happening for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then he ended up doing a presentation at the Craft Brewers Conference last year, and he put this graph up, and it showed how much fermentation they do bottle condition. It was 99%.
Yeah.
And then they did a different slide, and these are pie charts. It was how much beer they do dry hopped and non-dry hopped. Then it's 99% non-dry hopped.
Okay.
And 1%, it was a very small sliver.
Yeah.
And then he goes, why the fuck would you have a guy up presenting that's bottle condition but is doing a dry hop presentation? And it was all about what's called hop creep.
Okay.
And hop creep is a term now in the industry where you have this fermentation that continues on, and it's through dry hopping.
Wow.
That means it changes the pH as well.
It probably is. Actually, pH rising, if you add, again, I'm speaking in barrels, if you dry hop more than 0.5 to 0.6 pounds per barrel of dry hop, so that's, let's just say half a pound per barrel per 31 gallons of beer, your pH will rise.
Okay.
And you can even take a bottle of Budweiser and start dropping hops in.
And see it
and
happen.
at some point, your pH will rise. It's an incredible phenomenon.
Okay.
And so oftentimes you drink dry hop beer, and we call it flabby. It's like when you drink a wine.
It's 4.4%
and
pH.
And the pH is rising. And so there's a great term in the wine industry, flabby or clumsy.
Yeah.
And it means that your pH, you don't have high enough acidity in your wine.
Okay.
And so you need that acidity to have that snappy finish and that thirst quenching finish. And pH rises when you dry hop.
I see.
And
maybe that's my problem. I don't have enough acidity. I'm very flabby and very clumsy.
I think in general.
Yeah.
You're not even talking about your beer.
No. Just personally and physically, even metaphysically, possibly.
Drink
I don't know.
more beatification. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm going to try.
You got to raise up pH. Lower that pH.
Lower the pH. So anyway, so dry hopping.
You may never know.
There's this diacetyl thing going on, and so you need to lengthen your dry hop.
Okay.
If you are going to add that huge quantity like the hazy IPA brewers are doing.
Okay.
Would you recommend dry hopping earlier, like when you're not at terminal? That way you can have some fermentation going on?
You can do that. Okay. And there's said that there's some biotransformation that certain hops have.
Well, that's when you dry hop really early.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 days.
Halfway to terminal.
Yeah.
But if you're 10% to terminal, that would be a good time to help. Dry hop for a clear, clean beer.
Yeah, that would certainly help. And these are things we're still experimenting with because we have a good friend, Patty Aaron. She's a hop chemist. She's got a degree in hops, right?
A real chemist.
Yeah, she's a doctor.
Degree in hops. I like that.
Doctor of hops.
Yeah,
cool.
And
love to hang with her.
And so you bring this up with her, and she's like the classic answer. Well, we know all these things, but we're still doing research. But she's true. It's true though what she says. There's still so much unknown information, and no one would have thought when I was doing 2 pounds per barrel at Blind Pig, and that was a lot.
You were in the edge,
And now 4 pounds is kind of normal for.
Okay.
So, anyways, that was a roundabout way of saying I just wanted to bring something up that I bet most homebrewers haven't thought about on the diacetyl thing, and knowing about the enzymes and the sugars. And there's going to be so much more to be laid out on this topic in the next handful of years.
As we're finally documenting some of this stuff and learning, from these new techniques.
Yeah.
I've probably, speaking of hop off flavors, I probably told this story with you on the air before, but you, me, and Matt went on a little excursion once.
I remember that in Fort Collins and Boulder.
In Boulder.
Yep.
And I was a little younger then and more willing to put... I'm still always willing to put my foot in my mouth. But then I didn't care what I said. And we had gone back to the tasting room of the brewer who was our host.
Yep.
And we tasted an IPA. And I just say whatever I'm thinking all the time. And anyway, he gave me this IPA that just tasted really plasticky. And I remember asking, I just was like, hey, what's that? You guys were talking about the beer. And I was like, yeah, what's that like plastic flavor that we're tasting? And, and the brewer just looked at me like I'm an asshole, which I was. But you very kindly...
saved you, huh?
And passively answered me like, well, sometimes when the hops are a little young or the beer's a little young, you're going to get that flavor, and then let it pass. But you were kind to me to let me just not be an asshole.
He was your
asking an asshole question.
He filled up the dead air.
Do you remember that?
I could have finished your answer right there, and you could have seriously, because I used to say young hoppy beers at that time, you would get this really phenolic quality, this plasticky quality. And I totally remember.
I bring it up now because I like talking about embarrassing stories for myself, but also because it still happens. I still taste it in beers all the time now, and I think it's just something that was worth mentioning as, we can keep asking for new techniques and new ways to do it, but some of these old things still haven't gone away.
Yeah.
And I just remember very clearly tasting this flavor in an otherwise great brewery, by the way.
Sure.
But this particular
we
beer...
won't say which brewery.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it... Foot and mouth once is enough.
Yeah. Well, Coors Banquet can get that sometimes, and it's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You just work through it.
Yeah, because they dry hop.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Very young beers, like Coors Banquet, get that flavor, man.
But sometimes before brewers are asking for the next big thing and the next new technique, there's still a lot to learn about what we've already been doing for quite some time.
Classic lagering.
Or classic lagering.
Thank you very much for that segue.
Which is great to be drinking STS.
So STS Pils. Now, this was not your first Pilsner, but the one when you came back from Germany, you decided we have to make a Pilsner like this after this trip you were talking about.
Yeah. I think Vinnie was incredibly inspired by Schönraum and many of the other German Pils, and then of course I'd say that Pivo. Pivo is hands down one of the best.
Still to this day.
American-made
The worst
Pils.
thing about Pivo is it's really hard to find in Sonoma County.
Okay, really?
It's such a
So we have to go visit Matt
to get it. Yeah, I love that beer too. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, this is akin to that. So do you consider this on the hoppier side of a Pilsner? You do.
It's 50 BUs.
Okay.
We measure it.
Yeah.
49.8 if you want to be exact.
And did you run this through the centrifuge?
It's not. It would be traditionally called a Keller pill, so it's unfiltered, truly unfiltered, no fining agents, nothing. And I like it that way because the yeast gives you mouthfeel and texture, but the water chemistry is also a little more aggressive than you would on a traditional Pilsner. When we came back from Schönraum, I said I'm going to make a traditional German Pils, but it still has to have a Russian River edge to it, which means it's going to be on the hoppy side. We're going to dry hop it, and that's one of my favorite things about Pivo.
Yeah,
and I don't know if did you ever try Stevo?
No.
Or
STS
collaboration.
And Pivo Love Child.
Oh, maybe I did have that.
Yeah.
At a festival.
Yeah, and the cool,
it sounds familiar.
At Firestone. We had Stevo at Firestone.
And the cool thing about the Pilsner thing is that I've always been a closet Pilsner fan. I'm out of the closet now that I'm on the Brewing Network.
Yeah. Welcome. Congrats.
Yeah. It's where most people do it. It's fine.
But when Natalie and I went to Italy in 2000 something or other, we met an Italian brewer named Agostino.
Yes.
From Birrificio Italiano.
Yeah,
you
great
can
guy.
often find him at the Firestone Walker Festival every year.
We've interviewed him.
Signing chests.
He signed breast in the middle of his interview with us.
Sounds like Ago.
That sounds like Ago.
Yeah.
He was like the third craft brewer in Italy in 1994 or something. He literally is a pioneer, and he did it making Pilsner. And so we became friends based on a beer that he makes called Florette, which has couple different kinds of flowers, and elderberry juice, black pepper, and honey, and it really beautiful beer, and super delicate and light. And we brewed, and so we became friends in Italy over like 2 days at Salone de Gusto, a big slow food event.
Yeah,
and So we invited him to come brew with us, and we would go brew with him.
Nice.
We still haven't gone brewed with him, which we feel terrible about. But he came out, and we brewed Florette with him. And then since then, we've redone his recipe in a beer called She's So Italian.
Okay.
That we're going to brew again pretty quick. Anyway, so he and I drove down to the Craft Brewers Conference, and we stopped at some of my favorite breweries along the way, including Firestone.
Yeah.
So he and Matt become friends after this. Matt's inspiration for Pivo was from the I'm spacing on his Tipo pills.
Tipo,
Yeah,
that's right.
Tipo pills.
I just read that, actually.
And then Matt brews Pivo. And then we get inspired not only by some German Pilsners, especially Schönraum, but also Pivo. So it's like this full circle.
Yeah.
Pilsner that's
But that's
around.
the great part about the craft beer scene, whether it's just in America or obviously not just in America, that you guys are feeding off of each other and finding things that you like. I mean, even my tap room, I sort of built on after visiting tap rooms that I loved over years. Yeah. I've told Chris at Falling Rock that I straight stole a bunch of things from his tap room. And he looked at me and was like, hey, man, so did I when I built mine. I went to all my favorite tap rooms and I put that into mine.
Yeah, best of breed. Yeah.
And the beer's kind of the same, right? Like you go around, you taste beers that you love, and then you incorporate it into yours.
I'm thinking Italy for STS and Pivo.
Yeah. Well, this beer is wonderful, and I think I heard you say earlier in the show that it will be a new packaged product, a bottle product coming out of the new place?
Yeah, we bottle it a little bit now.
Okay.
But
it's only available at the pub now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's actually available right now, but we do plan to bottle it and distribute more of it once we get the new brewery open.
Like how everything's like. I mean, you got to preface it with I have no problem with hazy IPAs or anything. Because brewers are either on it or you're not.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I don't have a problem with it. But I hope our new brewery we're making like tons of STS.
Me too.
In our open top fermenters. And
God.
Like the world, and a great brewer said to me, the world needs more great Pilsners.
Yeah.
It's a great time for the style in the U.S.
Yeah, don't you think that's even though hazy IPAs are so popular, don't you think that lagers are becoming very popular too?
And a Pilsner, a well-made Pilsner, is every bit as hoppy as an IPA. It's different.
Right.
They're different hops. And the cool thing about STS is the main hop is a French hop called Aramis.
Okay.
And it was bred originally to be a replacement for Saaz for Anheuser-Busch. And then AB put the kibosh on it. And our friend Val Peacock, who's a hop chemist, scientist, was left with his French hop grower friends, and they're like, well, you told us to plant it, now sell it.
Yeah.
It's all craft brewers using Aramis now, and it's a beautiful hop that was bred from Strisselspalt, which is another French hop. And I
love the French.
And it's beautiful. Well, you're going to be there
You're
soon.
saving that hop like you saved Simcoe, huh?
I don't know about that.
I mean, how much of that is consumed in the U.S.? Any other U.S. brewers using
Aramis?
it? Yeah.
You know who's using a lot of it is Dale's Pale Ale. So Oscar Blues. Their Pilsner is 100%.
Okay.
It's a little bit. It's more mild, but they're still using a lot of it.
Okay.
Making.
So,
but there's a lot of breweries using it. But that was all Val, who's like the ultimate hop guru chemist. Just like
kept it alive and sold it.
Yeah, and now they're adding more. They're adding more acres.
Well, Tasty, if you're going to go back to France and brew this beer, now this brewery Outland, it's a friend of ours. They're into American-style beers being made and sold in France.
Yeah.
I feel like you should throw them a curve and bring this French hop back into it and give them some proud French...
Show them how to make beer with their own shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We should get Francis involved too. So the cool thing about the Alsace hop growing region is it's a co-op between all the growers.
Okay.
And so there's a cooperative that we deal with that. I mean, we buy the hops through an American broker, but they come through this co-op that Francis runs, and it's cool. I mean, you know, it's how it should be.
It is how it should be.
And the other cool thing is that it's in Alsace, and it's a wonderful wine growing region.
Okay. When you two love wine as much as you love beer, I would think. Yeah.
So I can't wait to visit.
Very nice. All right, well, I feel like I should let you two go. We got a couple things to finish if you just want to hang out for a couple minutes, because we got to end our Twitter game.
Are you firing them, or you're letting them go out of the studio?
Well, it's more of a layoff.
Okay.
Meaning I will have them back again.
Oh, got it. Okay, their contract has been fulfilled.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
What else do you have left to do after?
Well, we just have to pay some sponsors really quick.
Nothing
wrong with that.
I have a question. When will you do glitter beer? Because that's the new thing, and I know you need to be on trend, right? That's your thing. You guys are always ahead of the curve. I'm kidding. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But glitter beer is a thing.
It is a thing. I've seen it.
I never.
Thank you. Thank you. As a
I'm a direct communicator.
Yeah. As a Pilsner fan, I'm sad Warren's not here to talk about Pilsners and all this kind of stuff, because that's all we've been preaching for like 2 years.
I gave up
More
glitter
Pilsners,
in kindergarten.
Please. Yeah, I know, right? More Pilsner.
If you
More
would like
Pilsner.
to consult Vinnie about how to give a formal presentation about glitter beer to Natalie, then maybe you could.
I can definitely. Well, I helped you with your presentation at NHC.
Yeah.
I can definitely help Vinnie for sure.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mixed media would be great.
Yes. Do you have more questions from the chat, or
no? None.
Just okay.
Yeah, my computer died, so there might be questions in the chat, but I can't get on my phone. So
okay,
y'all out.
I think we're good. But Brewers Publications, the publishing division of the Brewers Association, with nearly 50 titles in print and digital format, they've got a beer to fit almost any need, whether you're a craft brewer, home brewer, or aspiring brewer. Visit brewerspublications.com and browse the titles on brewing science, the business of beer, beer history, and more. And yeah, I have, at least flipped the pages of almost all their books, and so they do a good job. Go to brewerspublications.com and check it out. The Brewers Association, by the way, boy, have they grown up just like the rest of this industry. And I work with them a lot now on all the award streaming. We're going to go to the Craft Brewers Conference and stream the World Beer Cup.
Jealous.
But I don't know, it's one of those, like we were talking about being proud to sort of grow up with each other.
Yep.
When I work with the Brewers Association, and I hope they feel the same way about me, now, as opposed to how I used to, I'm like, wow, look at these guys. They really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That big, thing they do before GABF is, music, and there's flashing lights.
Right? Yeah.
Well, who's producing this?
Got to get them. DJ Khaled, I think, is really who's producing the.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
We're working on this year during our broadcast and on the scene at the World Beer Cup. All of these breweries who either don't get to go to the awards themselves, or at least their whole staff doesn't get to. They all have these kind of viewer parties now.
Oh, fun.
Well, we're going to try to stream the viewer parties into the hall at the World Beer Cup, so that we can just kind of flash some of these parties happening across the country.
You know what? I really enjoyed that during the Olympics when the men's curling won gold and they were showing the live viewing parties
back at home, right?
Yeah, the curling teams, the clubs. That was really fun.
Yeah,
which was. So I love that
we're trying to do
the
a
spirit
similar
of
thing.
the curling.
Which wasn't
teams.
at 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I was like, but everyone has a beer. Pretty sure that's after hours. What's going on over there, and why can't I be there?
Well, have you ever been to New Glarus, though?
No.
You can drink anytime you want in New Glarus.
I do want to go, man. That'd be great.
I can't remember the last time I was up at 4 a.m. without a beer in my hand, to be quite honest with you. So,
you know what? If you build a brewery from scratch, you'll be up every morning at 4 a.m. without a beer.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't want to do that.
No.
I leave that to you guys. All right, let me do one more read, and then we got to do our Twitter game, too.
All right.
Adam and Eve.
My
been a sponsor
goodness.
of ours.
Speaking of glitter.
You guys familiar with Adam and Eve, you two? I'm sure you are. Yeah. Natalie, no. Never. Don't know what you're talking about. Well, they're determined to help you spice things up in the bedroom. Check it out. Go to adamandeve.com. You get 50% off almost any item when you enter coupon code BNARMY at checkout. But also, you're going to get a free Big O kit, which is like a Climax gel, a mini vibrator. Oh, that's it. A Climax gel and a mini vibrator.
Yeah.
What else do you need?
Yeah,
I think if you
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what else you need.
I think if you hurry up and act now, you can watch it come in underneath the Golden Gate Bridge on a boat. They give you the boat name.
Yeah, that's right.
Honey, it's almost here. I'll be better in the bedroom, I promise.
You know what, though? We use a vibrator. You use a vibrator to do concrete.
To rouse
they really pull the air out. But
it's true.
But
yeah.
no gel.
Yeah.
No gel.
Same concept, different outcome.
I will introduce vibrating dry hop concept.
I love this.
Yeah. That's why my wife asked me to put a industrial dryer in our house.
She did, yeah. One that vibrates more than the average. Well, you don't have to spend that much money. You can go to adamandeve.com and use coupon code BNARMY. Plus, you're going to get free shipping, one item at 50% off, and
all that stuff.
Adamandeve.com, coupon code BNARMY.
That might be one of the better long-term investments that we have on the show.
The Adam and Eve sponsorship? Yeah. They've been with us for a while.
I mean...
They've dropped... we have several shows on the network.
Yeah.
Some shows don't perform as well.
Just
the
like
Session
me.
has always performed really well.
Right.
We're gold here.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah. I'm not going to say who doesn't, Jamil, perform as well on their shows, but we've done really well.
Well, you know, like
he started performing better. They brought him back.
Okay, good.
They did.
You know what you need in here? I just looked up.
Uh-oh.
You need a big-ass fan in here.
Bigger than that little-ass fan?
Your one's too small.
Yeah.
Do you know Big-Ass Fan?
Yeah, I know that.
We're talking about the brand? No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's in, like, any reputable brewery has a big-ass fan.
It's like a big-ass, slow-moving fan.
Will it fit in here?
They have small ones.
I want to get them to sponsor us right now.
I was going to say that. I bet they'd be a sponsor if you get
that
one
would
in here.
Be cool. I looked up and you're like, this is a cheesy-ass
It's
fan.
we were like...
You need a big-ass fan.
It's really the smallest fan on earth.
But it's really fast.
But it's quiet.
But it is quiet.
It's very quiet. I honestly think it needs to be reversed, because when there's no AC, you can't tell if the fan's on or off.
True. It needs to suck and not blow, is what
I
you're
think
saying?
so, yeah. It needs to switch from suck to blow.
I think so. Yeah.
Love that movie. Little Spaceballs for you.
Oh, I know.
All right.
My fave.
Thank you.
One of my faves.
Your fave?
One of my faves.
Wow, look at you.
All right, what was our Twitter game today?
Our Twitter game was hazy beer, glitter beer. What's next?
Okay.
How are we going to destroy beer now?
Hang on, I need to take notes. How did we do?
Okay. There's only 4 really good ones, because everyone, wasn't very good. Jesse Newcomer says, the world of vaping will collide with craft beer, and the hipsters will now be vaping massive clouds of their favorite pastry stout or NE-IPA.
Okay, vape beer.
Yeah.
I like it.
In through the mouth, out through the belly button.
Can I have a question? What's the pastry beer thing again?
I think it's like vanilla and sugar, and I don't know.
That's what I thought. I've heard the term before. I heard brute beer earlier.
Or I think it's like...
Oh, really? That sounds awful.
It's hyper fermented, attenuated.
Like extra dry.
That's
dry.
enzyme beer.
And it's enzymes from... Someone's doing it in the Bay Area, apparently.
I just drink champagne, dude.
Social Kitchen did.
I had it wrong. I thought you were... when he said brute, I was thinking of the old-ass cologne. Yeah, and I was like, oh, God, no.
When Natalie was talking about watching the ship come in, did you think Old Spice, too, you walnut?
Yeah, I'm getting really old, JP.
You walnut head. God.
Okay, but dry.
I love you.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Google brute beer, and you'll find all about what
that's a whole thing, too.
I think pastry stout is like the super sweet, cloying... imperial stouts that are like
honey spice,
all the things, man.
Cookie spices.
All right.
Andrew Boozer says sparkling urinal cakes.
Okay.
That's going to be one.
Yeah.
Bare Knuckles Brew says purple beer made with butterfly pea powder.
Okay.
PEA, not PEE, which is where I went to immediately. He says, look it up. It's a real thing.
Really?
Yeah. And he says, the hipsters are trying to control the world. Take cover with your lagers.
Yeah.
Butterfly pea powder.
Okay.
Although purple beer.
It's too long to write. I'll just keep purple beer.
Just put pea powder.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
All right.
Ryan Turner says virtual beer. Wait online to check in all those fake whales with your imaginary friends.
That's already a thing.
It is already a thing.
Virtual. Oh, wow. This is going to be a tough choice now.
Remember that game? There was a virtual beer game.
Yeah, it's like
they were a sponsor for a minute.
Yeah.
I think...
Was that real?
What do you call this game? Is this a Twitter thing?
This game... Yeah, it's our Twitter game.
This is like the new drunkard game.
It's a new drunkard.
It's going to be gone in a couple years.
Yeah, you're probably
They don't have nothing to do, so don't say that.
Just to know, usually we have much better submissions than these.
We do. Yeah, our Twitter game's usually pretty good. It's also based on the question posed.
The questions are a little more.
It wasn't a bad question.
No.
I mean, how it resonates.
Why is everyone knocking my Twitter game?
I
know, right?
It's how it resonates, though, with the.
They negged me.
Sometimes
did you hear that?
We did. I did neg you,
asshole.
You started out with they weren't that good.
Okay, but we have 2 good answers here. That was it, right?
I got one. No, I got one more. But I had to wait for you guys to be done insulting me first.
Okay,
motherfucker. Joe Homebrewer, TM, says...
He trademarked it?
He says TM, I don't know.
Yeah, but trademark's different than R.
That's true. Genetically modified yeast that are bioluminescent and glow in different colors.
I said that in our example.
But he put in different colors.
Is that like the show?
It's like a rave in a glass, I guess.
It's bad that when he said it, I went, ooh.
Wow. I'm a salesman. I'm a pitch man. What do you...
Not you. The guy who said it.
In different colors.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You got to do the twist with the hand, too.
I think the only 2 here that are in competition with each other are vape beer, which is fascinating, and virtual beer.
I would agree with you.
Because virtual beer is practically here now. The beer geeks sit around and they're like, oh my God, I have this whale, and they're lying.
Yeah, talking to, well, I won't name names, but certain people in the beer industry, they'll go, I got a new Untapped rating that I haven't brewed that beer in 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
So I agree with you. There's a lot of that.
So these are our 2. Do we want to vote by show of hands?
I'm going vape all the way.
Vape beer, vape beer.
Because I think that's funny.
Vape beer.
Because vaping is hilarious.
Yeah, it's unanimous.
There
Vape beer is our Twitter game winner tonight. There you go.
Yay. Yay, man.
You're going to get a
online.
thing from Bevo that's a prize.
You think?
Yeah.
It actually might be worse than a prize.
All right. We are off next week, and we've got our big Spring Brews Festival this Saturday. Please go get your tickets to breweringnetwork.com.
You are.
Yeah.
Everyone, I think.
Yep. You've always poured at our fest. 9 years we're going on.
9 years.
That's awesome.
So thank you for that support. You two, I appreciate it so much. I know you're so busy up there, and thanks for coming down to hang out with us. It's always a good time.
Oh, thank you for having us. This is
it was
really
absolutely
fun,
great.
and we'll come back after we build the brewery, and we can stay the night and have a little more fun.
Yeah, cool. Natalie has to DD tonight. Well,
that's right.
Next time, either leave Vinnie at home, because we're fine with that.
Okay.
Or he's DD, or stay the night, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. He can make a presentation about coming down with you.
Here's how I think. Here's how I think it would work.
Which is really just like, please let me go again. I like hanging out with those guys. Where's the ROI, Vinnie?
You've come a long way through all this. I'm just changing the subject. You have your own bar now. You have an ABC license.
He has
in
2 bars.
states.
In 2 states, yes.
Yeah. That's more than we have.
I'm semi-grown up.
Yep. So, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It has been fun to grow up together in this industry.
Tremendous.
We will keep having you on the program, both of you, and I can't wait till the place opens.
Yes.
We're starting a new video series here soon, so I might bug you to come up and shoot some footage like construction.
Yeah.
And then I'll come do the open. We'll kind of wrap it all up, but I'll bug you guys about that later.
Cool.
Love to show people the new project.
Good.
And then the brand new Northern California brewing destination that is Russian River Brewing Company.
Yeah, absolutely. Again,
exactly.
Right. Absolutely.
A destination we can all fit into.
That's true. That's correct.
All right, you two. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you very much. I will say, if you're going to come to the Spring Brews Fest, is why shouldn't you stop by the Flat Tail booth, because Dave Malalavov and I did a sour beer blend.
Oh, you did?
Based around a tiki drink. If you're familiar with tiki drinks, the Port au Prince. We based a tiki drink off of that. It's called the Dawn.
Okay.
To be named after Don the Beachcomber, who started kind of the whole tiki revival in the 40s. Yeah, so check it out. Dave will be there. I won't be, because I have more important things to do, like sleep. But check it out and let me know what you think of it, because it might eventually be a bottle release.
Really?
We never know. We'll it's a trial batch. With good stuff in it.
Boy, that Dave will do anything.
He really will.
All right, I will try it. Have you had it?
No, I haven't had it yet.
You're not even going to come out to try it?
No, he's going to bring me a growler on Sunday.
Okay.
I'm going to make him come out to me.
I see.
Oakley is the destination. I'm telling you, that's where everybody goes. It's where all the ugly people with
I've heard. I read it on
terrible
Tweaker.
lives.
Oakley's a place to go.
It's the good crystal. What do you want?
All right. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll
I had
see
to plug
you all.
myself.
No,
Sorry, Tasty. I didn't mean to steal your spotlight.
As you should.
5 hours of Janet Brown. I had to get my Johns in. It's fine.
You did well.
Yeah, it's
I'm
all
just
right.
making sure I covered everything.
I want to yell some more. I'm tired.
All right, we're off next week because we'll be recovering from spring brews. Get your tickets to brewingnetwork.com. Go to, is it just Russian River Brewing?
RussianRiverBrewing.com.
RussianRiverBrewing.com.
Go check it out. You can maybe track progress on all your social media accounts.
Yes, we have a time-lapse camera that's live
cool.
on our website. So you can watch it, take
badass.
a picture every 10 minutes. And then I do updates on social media on our Instagram, which is at Russian River Brewing Official.
Okay.
And we have a Facebook page, and we also have a YouTube account.
There better been 80 joists put up today.
Or there'll be hell to pay. Are you going to combine all the snapshots into one video?
Yeah.
Nice.
So we'll do a giant time lapse at the end, but it's really fun.
You picture me walking into the
play
place?
with it and
Right,
post
of course.
some time lapse.
Yeah, that's
when
cool.
things happen. So it's not a lot of times a long time goes by and you can't really.
No, you
see
got
much
to edit
happening.
some stuff out because there's internal. Yeah, for sure. That's cool. I like that. Yeah.
Can I thank you personally, Natalie, for getting tech savvy with Russian River? Because I remember talking to this guy about it. He's like, Facebook. I don't want the face. I don't want the face.
Oh, he still
I don't want
says
the
that.
face anything. And finally, Natalie's like, I'll take care of this.
I think we have to watch where we dig because I might hit an internet tube.
We were a little late to the game, and I know there is another Instagram Russian River Brewing page out there, which is more of a fan page. But
Okay.
I probably need to acquire that at some point.
I see.
So-
Yeah. Well, as long as you're being nice, it can't be that bad.
Yeah. So I don't want to be, uncool.
All right. Well, thank you for doing all that so that we can follow along.
Yes, thank you.
All right, everybody. We're going to get out of here. JP's going to do the rest. And like I said, off next week, but we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Perfect.
Cheers. Thanks.
Thank you to our show sponsor, More Beer. You can get absolutely everything you need to make great beer at home by going to morebeer.com. Vinnie and Natalie from Russian River Brewing fought traffic and crowds to be in studio with us. Keep up to date with the happenings up there at RussianRiverBrewing.com. Merge your love of Disneyland with your lack of engaging podcasts and go to EarsUpPodcast.com as JP, Terrence, Bevo, and Taryn talk about all things Disneyland. Get on Twitter for some good beer insight and homebrew info and follow Nate Smith at Nathan Homebrew, Mike McDowell at Tasty McD. Warren is stuck over at Another Beardy. But JP fully understands that Twitter is dead and you should probably follow him on Instagram at Major Jip. And Bevo is hanging out on Instagram as well as Beverly Moore. Be sure to find the Brewing Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
JP's an asshole. Justin's a nice guy, and when